Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 324, I think it is. Why can't I hear the sound though? Is it playing sound? Okay, hear music.
I can use it. I can use it, but I have to pause it.
Yeah, I can't hear it, but it looks like it's playing. So it's our 300th video upload today, or will be when we upload it to YouTube. Just trying to get some CPU back here. Not too sure where everybody is today, but me and Rob are always here. So that's something that's changed as well. I should be hearing that, but it looks like Minicam's changed something. I can hear if I put the echo on. The echo chamber. Longer intro today, so it gives people a chance to come on. Still says we've got 0 watching, which is kind of strange. Have I forgotten something? Maybe, I don't know. I think so. People should be used to the times by now. All those daylight saving changes, and it messes up everybody's time. They're probably going to be an hour late, probably. We need to shop an hour early, you see. Hello! Good to be back. I need to pause the music, don't I? Because I can't hear it. Good to be back. Yeah, you know the rules on the side. And need to switch to the other screen now because I'm not using my usual intro method. Here we are. I should be back at the desktop. How's it going on Twitch here? It's looking alright. I've got 1 viewer now. Amazing. Hey. That's probably Rob testing it out. Yeah, I don't know where Charles is today. Are you there, Robert?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, just making sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, looks like notification went out on Discord. So it's UFO cases and news with Robert, USOs part 2. And other cases. And we've still got no one around, so it's kind of weird. But anyway, on with the show. So I'll type in the usual welcome in the side chat. If you're new to the side chat, you can set your color, remember, with the / color, else you'll adopt the same color as I'm using. It seems to be anyway. Live stream, what was it? 42, wasn't it? Let me just check. Alright, 43 today. Robert didn't correct me. Okay. Sunday. So yeah, I got lots of things to remember and do. Sunday UFO cases. And news with Robert. I'm guessing that Charles has had a computer problem or in hospital. And everybody else, I don't know. But anyway, CPU is good to go. Looks right. So, first up, just want to mention that Shelly has been banned from the group for breaking the rules. Yet she's telling fibs on other people's channels at the moment, and everybody's noticing. I've got some screen snapshots of some of the things she's been saying that people have been sending me, and it's just not on. So what have we got here? I'll start here. What's that one there? Let's have a quick look. So Shelly. First comment, I tried and was afraid to talk. I don't share same view as ufology as out there. So why's she been with me for a year? Is the question then. Obviously, in that case, that means she doesn't want truth in ufology. She'll put up with any BS that's currently out there still. That's from what I mean by that. What do you think she means by that, Robert?
You know, I really have no idea. I've never been able to make a great deal of sense out of what Shelley's ever said, to be honest, you know. I don't know. Where did she come from? Did she come from security originally, though?
No, she come from third phase of the moon, but it looks like she's gone back to him again.
Okay, right. Oh, well, there we go.
And I think Susan come from Tyler or secure team, and she sent a message out to Susan on Twitter, I think it was, or something like that. And now we've got Susan part of the group, right? So this is some other comments that she's got. I have had no freedom to even go to anyone else channel talk, or they kick me out. Well, that's not true. Part of the rules on Discord is you got to be a truther, and you can't hang around on other fraud channels out there, because that makes you really highly suspect, unless you've told people that you're being a double agent or something like that. So yeah. Next comment. I saw the new documentary, very good. So she's given praise to the cousin bros here of their crappy documentaries they make. The one she's talking about is on Battalion Earth, or whatever it's called. And I've always mentioned that the best documentary I've seen on it is done by Channel 4 in UK, which is 3 hours long or more, and it covers everything. Lots of stuff that these guys don't cover. So yeah, if you ain't seen it, then you can't compare. It's like comparing oranges with apples. Until you see what other people have done, you can't really say it's a good documentary. They just repeated what they've already done in the past. And of course you got Renee Cruz. Keep on rocking. Have a great day, everyone. So you can see she's trying to befriend everybody on third phase of the moon again, as well as Goof on Radio, I think it was.
Well, everyone has a choice, don't they? But yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, and you can see Renee looks like as a moderator for third phase of the moon, and also a member, paying member. And yeah, they will find a big headquarters. Hugs Renee. So that's talking about third phase of the moon trying to get a new headquarters. for their own ego, I guess. It's not like they're building a building to house homeless people. That's all for them. And this comment here, where she's trying to now sell a story to other channels, which is a bit of a shame she does that. Because it just, to me, if she sells her story to these 4 channels, that just means that, to me, it wasn't true after all. That's how I see it anyway. So, yeah, I should just use that zoom in there. So she said, I had 3 sightings experiences growing up, eyes to the skies, bro. And of course you got Goof on there, sucking up to Cousin Bros as well. So yeah, these are all the things that people said. Don't associate me with the Out There channel, she's saying here.
Oh, honestly.
Yeah, please don't associate her with my channel. We're grounded people here. You know, we stick to our guns, and the only way forward is truth, not bullshit. Shelly Morrison, I left. No, I left. I quit. Well, that's not true. Anyone that's been on Discord has seen backup chats that went on, and she went out of the way to insult our moderators, including myself at one stage, saying how dare I pick JD as a moderator over here. Well, JD I've known for years, and JD's got technical skill, and she has 0 in her computer. She keeps saying is compromised. So her partner joined all these job sites, employment sites, and downloaded a executable and ran it on her brand new Windows laptop, and it was taken over by someone in France, I think it was. Remote controlled it and had to do a factory reset, you know. That's how silly some people are out there that still don't understand basic security on computers, that you never run an executable from an unknown source. Even if it's on a job website, they'll never send you an executable. Okay, what's the name? Never again, go back. Well, Shelly, you said it there. You're not coming back. We're quite happy not to have you here causing drama on our platform.
Area 51 is here.
Hey, Area 51, we're just waiting for everybody to catch up. We don't know where Charles is. Charles is the first one to report it. Shelly's making comments on Goof on show at 15 and talks about you again, Paul, at blah blah. Goof. So this is what's posted in public, obviously, out there on YouTube.
Sneaky.
Goof called Shelly a moderator off the Out There channel when she was never a moderator. She was given moderating rights on YouTube comments only, but she never used it, and she has been removed from it, obviously. Goofin called Shelly a moderator. She tried to comment all the way through the show on the side. He has the best in the chat now with Renee, Kim, and Shelly. And okay. And of course, even more comments. Alien Girl, the guy who I have been a friend, but I have left, he says he threw me off. No, I didn't throw you off. The moderators threw you off because you broke the rules more than 3 times. You were given many, many warnings not to start drama and to insult people. I am a spy. Well, time will tell, won't it? Nope, I just had my last conversation with that guy. Well, fair enough, Shelly. And you said it. The thing is, if you start trashing people out there in the side chat, that's not true. or in Sthn, don't expect not to be found out, because there's people everywhere watching, and they'll report things back to you. They hate me. Well, that was never the case. We tried to help you, Shelly, and you know well that I sent you a brand new tablet so you could keep on the show, because you kept saying your iPad was hacked.
Yeah, I know.
You don't get sent a brand new tablet, which you managed to stuff up when you received it somehow, saying that the browser doesn't work. Well, the first thing you do when you get a tablet is you update all the apps on it by logging into your Google Gmail and go into Play Store, it will do automatic updates. Failing that, you can download some alternative browser, that's because sometimes the Chinese put their own one on there. You could download Firefox or Chrome or any other browser app you wanted from the store. But you can't use the browser on tablet, as you know, is not the same as Windows. But you got a Windows 10 laptop which you could have used to watch the show properly, because the browser Chrome there is all fully active. And you got to remember the browsers on Android and Apple are all sort of cut down to what we're used to on Windows, with all the actual functionalities that we have. So yeah, we don't hate you, but we probably hate you now for these comments that you're saying.
Well, there's no way back for now, is there?
No, not really. But she isn't actually blocked, but she shows up. You guys may want to block her, because you're so. You guys are more angry than I am about these comments, but especially when you know what sort of stuff I think. And these are the emails I got from you. I just want to go through some of the emails, because like you said, it's really hard to understand to the best of times. So, as you know, Goofon got a strike for having porn on his channel, and she's straight away. Yeah, he put porn up on his channel. It might have been 3 seconds, but it was a blowjob, and that was enough to get him a warning community strike. And lots of people spotted it, and everybody wanted to report the guy, because Goofon's not exactly liked out there by the real people in ufology, and there's a lot of people there that hate him for his constant mockery of people. Yeah. He says he doesn't do it, but you've seen some of the recent stuff that he's done on my channel, and he's insulted Charles, who's got a disability, and that's hate speech in my book. But anyway, see what happens in the future for this Goofon guy. He hasn't learnt, and he's just a sock puppet for the big channel there. No, I had nothing to do with it. So she's saying she's had nothing to do with Goofon. 2 wrongs don't make a right. So what's she saying? That I should be joining up with the fraud channels now? Mate, Jesus, the hate in this platform is hurtful. There's no hate in our platform. Everybody gets on really well in our UFO community here. And everybody had complaints about Shelly, the way she was acting all the time. She was paranoid about being hacked all the time, and everything that she kept posting was just absolutely nonsense. Plex and I are computer experts, and we didn't know how to advise her, apart from doing a factory reset. But she again goes and sends it off to all these other guys, and yeah, it's just got messier and messier, so-called security experts. So what they ended up doing on her laptop is disabled all her mic and video camera, so she couldn't use it on Discord chat and live streams. It's just absolutely stupid, because they're worried that they'll be spying on her through a microphone, all this sort of nonsense. Hope you are a better man, that it wasn't your doing. You will do that if it was to your other channels. I don't even know what that means. Or sub to LG. Others you don't like. I didn't say anything bad. Well, I think all those comments we looked at were pretty bad, saying that we kicked you off and we hate you. That's all pretty bad when it's not actually true. And we didn't ban you, and you could have come back still. You just banned off our Truther Discord group, and of course you were hacked all the time. You were a security risk because anyone could access your account on Discord and pretended to be you as well. So really, you should have been banned a long time ago until you got your security sorted out. I won't say anything. Well, you already have, and I have not. Yes, you have. I will not. I am not the person who did anything bad to you. She certainly caused me a lot of extra work, though. Person who did anything bad to you, Paul, are not allowed to jerk to throw you private photos away either. Okay, so what happened is she uploaded some photos to a room that we set up there for special people that are what we call friends. If you're a friend and a regular user of Discord, you can get your own room and communicate with people from that room. And she uploaded some photos to it. And of course, when you get banned, everything gets deleted. So also, you don't upload photographs and use Discord as a backup, a backup platform. You use Google Drive for that, or SD card or something like that. So now she's saying we threw away a private photographs. Well, if you got a digital copy of a photograph that you uploaded, then you must have the master copy.
Yeah.
And if not, then it's your fault, and it's not our fault. You can't say it's our fault for deleting your photo. Who hurt you? You tell him to do it. So she's going on about Plex. He's a German guy. He's really technical. He's a really great guy. He's not shown any distrust. And he's actually improved the Discord for me while I've been working on other projects. So, yeah, she was calling him all sorts of nasty names. And, yeah, you don't call a moderator, not especially the administrator, which is the king of all mods, names, because you're going to get booted. You get on and do good things and not cause trouble. Did you, because you threw me away, is Plex being told to send me a Trojan? Now, what happened is we use these things called robots or bots. You've probably seen them on other social medias. They help with the workload, or they give you extra functions. And one of them is actually called Bean. Get beamed, as in Mr. Bean, get beamed. Which means get booted or get banned, and it's a bot that Plex used to ban her and delete her messages. It does it all in one to save him a bit of workload. So she reckons it's a Trojan. So she would have got a private message from the bot saying you've now been deleted and all that sort of business, and she reckons it was a hacker Trojan, which is absolutely nonsense. Yeah, I know. And I've told her all this. I said, look, it's just a bot we use on the channel. It's not a hacker. So, yeah. You can see... Well, this is one of many emails I've got, right? And, of course, we've got a lot of other stuff to do, just to worry about one person all the time. And I quit. Well, she ain't quit. She was banned before she quit. I give you, she's got banned before when she went on her, what she says is the PSTD rampage after we did the live show. She went on, she got triggered by some of the photographs that she shared with me, saying I wasn't meant to show it on the live show, even though Several times, even the night before, I said make sure you only have photos in your room that you want to put on the live show, because I'll be downloading them all and rotating through them. And I've got to back up comments of that what I said to her. I said, well, I'll be using your images, which were the drawings, and your photographs, which are obviously pictures. So she says there's no malice in here. Well, time will tell, I guess. Too hurt inside. So really, she sort of seemed a bit vengeful there, I thought, with the endless comments.
Just a bit, yeah.
There's a Trojan coming from Get Beaned. That's what I was talking about as like Mr. Bean. Over and over swear all I'm typing here, Paul, is truth. You might. Well, she's using malware bytes. She's bought a license. It's running laptop. There's no way you'll be able to get a Trojan on there anyway, unless it's tailored especially for Shelly. As you know, you can actually tailor Trojans so they don't get detected by the signatures, but that's like a serious hacker. Type in here, Paul. But if you follow your protocols, you know, not run any executables, never install any unknown apps that's not in the Play Store, you should be pretty fine. And of course, the Android tablet, as you know, you can't infect. It's like the safest thing. That's why I bought it for her. I know a hacker wouldn't stand a chance there. And if you're in doubt, you always go to the power up screen and go into recovery mode until it do a factory reset before it's even loaded the operating system, which might have the Trojan in it. So yeah, Android tablets are really good for that. If you can get a hacker on there, that would be like the first I've ever heard. I wish people were not corrupt. Didn't say you were. Is there a way to retrieve the 3 photos? Now, I tried my best to see if there was anything in the trash can, and no, that's all got purged. But I gave her a tool. I said, if you've looked at the photo recently in the last few weeks and you haven't done a factory reset, you can use this cache viewer, and it actually looks into all the cache files databases, and it will have all the images there. So I don't know if she did that, but I gave her a link to install the tool and actually check her cache. So I did everything to try and help her, but yeah, what can you do? So that's the side of the story anyway. You just can't come on and start insulting people. It's been our rule for 4 years now. Be civil on the side. And I know you've read some of the comments and your heart sunk with Shelly too, Rob. And I know Charles. I'm not sure where Charles is today, boy. Is he out there on the side chat? Susan, I'm not liking Twitch much. Twitchy, my live stream keeps hanging up. Well, that's your internet problem, Susan. You need to get your own cable. You can't just hop on to the next door neighbours on Wi-Fi. It doesn't work very well. Even we have trouble, and we're on cable. And we're on cable to fibre. We're on so fast speed you can download a movie within about a minute here now. Or less, 10 seconds I think it is. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know where Charles is. I've tried to reach out to him. Anyone out there knows, tell him to read his Discord DM and he'll be able to get on. I suspect he was going to go to the wrong room since yesterday. We changed rooms for a voice, but he's normally on Discord and I didn't see him on Discord. So that's the Shelly thing. I'll just stick it into that folder there. I'm still in talks with YouTube. As you can see there, I'm collecting screen snapshots of our chat to document everything. I feel that they're playing the double standards game and favouring channels that make them more money rather than sticking to their so-called rules. Then they don't seem to be. So yeah. So what's on to today's show? So that was all the admin side of it out the way there. I know Charles wanted to say something about Shelly, but yeah, he's not around. So this is our 600th episode today. If you've not read the comments and you missed the birthday cake opening, so just remember there's a tip page on the about page if you want to send $1 to $10 tips. I'll post it here just in case you haven't bookmarked it. So that's the OBS tips there. And if you're not a member, which we're after 2 more members to be able to activate monthly payments. At the moment it's one-off payments until we get another 2 subs. We're limited there as well, and we need another 40 subs on Twitch to be able to hit that 50 goal, to be able to get partnership, to be able to use the Twitch memberships and stuff, which will be another thing we have to experiment with. Alright, here we go. Steve Bassett is first up on today's topic.
Oh yeah, but just before you get to that one. Yeah, the UFO fields are buzz at the moment. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there was an interview with James Fox recently where he said something big is going to land, something huge, as he put it.
Really?
I don't know what it is. I've got an idea.
I've heard this before.
We have heard it before, and that's why we need to be so careful, because you'll only end up disappointed. But anyway, it was confirmed by Alessandro Vilhas as well. Something is going to drop. There's no doubt about that. It sounds like it's going to be a statement rather than an article. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm reading between the lines, and I'm thinking it's going to be coming from the Navy. This UAP task force. That's my feeling, but I'm guessing. We'll see. We'll see if I'm right. But Fox has got. He's well connected. You know, he's got someone inside the CIA as well. So I don't know, but I'm not holding my breath too much. But some things come in. But Vilhas did warn. Don't expect it to be like full disclosure or anything quite up to that. He said it's extremely interesting. I think he seems to have some information that Fox didn't, and Fox had information that he didn't. So it's yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, again, you know, we were disappointed with some of the well, especially that one on crash retrievals with the New York Times. That turned out to be a bit of a damp squib. You know, especially the way it was built up. If it wasn't built up the way it was, it would have been a good article. But that's what it is. In ecology, people hype things out of the park, and then when they do come along, you're thinking, oh, you know, is that what they got all excited about? Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, Goofon was talking about Luis Alessandro the other day, wasn't he?
He was trashing him, you mean?
You know, yeah, he was trashing him. I can understand that kind of frustration, because he's always so cagey in what he says. And yeah, sometimes you're just thinking, for God's sakes, if you know all this stuff, you know, that you claim, you know, stop hiding behind your security clearance and just spit it out. I do feel that way myself sometimes, but I think he's got to be very careful what he says at the moment, because they've obviously got people on the inside that are trying to get this stuff out as well. So by saying stupid things, that they can lose some of those colleagues, people who are working with them on the inside.
Yeah, someone asked him when we're going to get real disclosure, and he says, what do you mean by that? You know, and obviously it's fairly obvious what's meant by that. So far it's not been real disclosure. There's not been any evidence of aliens inside UFOs. We've only seen crappy cut down videos. That's all.
And no, but what he did say, Paul, and he's bang on. He says, disclosure isn't an event; it's a process. It's not something that happens overnight. It's something that happens gradually, and I think it is happening and has been happening.
Right. This is where the terminology of soft disclosure comes in versus disclosure.
Yes.
So all he should have said to that, but all that guy was asking is, so far it's been soft disclosure. When we're going to get the full disclosure, the real disclosure? So I think maybe either he didn't understand the question, or he didn't know really how to answer it.
I don't think he knew exactly how to answer it, no.
But he could have said, yes, I know we've got soft... Yeah, we know we got soft disclosure at the moment, but hopefully more will come out, so it'll be
well,
proven.
The next couple of weeks there's going to be something. There's definitely going to be something.
You seem to be cutting out my end. I'm not sure if it's happening on Google.
No.
Can you just pop in and out just to make sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's happened to Charles today? I hope he's not in hospital. Could be a computer problem. I know he went to hospital yesterday, wasn't it? For checkups and things. Maybe they twisted his back somehow. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
No, that sounds better. Yep.
Left the link for you.
Yeah, I see that. Just Rebit Road, why we haven't seen Charles, that's all. He normally shows up somewhere. How can I get that? Copy. So what's first up here? YouTube video?
Yeah, this is the Steve Bassett. Now, that was just taking me on from Louise. This is what he's got to say about TTSA. It's from the Blackvault. It's about 13 minutes long.
What's that not
Steve Bassett, and like some people clearly knows what he's talking about on this subject.
That's weird. Why is it not opening up? YouTube. That should work. Seems to not have the H for some reason. I'll just type it in. No. What the hell? Have you mistyped it? Something I'm missing?
No, I just left you a link, that's all.
HPP.
Copied and pasted. You can't mistype it if you copy and paste it.
Let's just get rid of that bit on the front. There we go. I think there was some unseen character there. No, it's still coming up wrong. That makes no sense. Hang on, I'll just try something else.
Okay, I just need to pop to the...
Oh, what happened there? Yeah, having trouble. Copy. Okay, finally. See if this works. That's looking better. Kind of weird it didn't work. To the stars. The Blackvault. Okay. So, better wait till he comes back to see where we want to go with this one. Might need to adjust the volume. -minute clip.
Do you feel that To the Stars Academy and what they did, that was a government sanction?
I think that's loud enough, isn't it? Okay. Starting to warm up in here. The sun is coming. So who we got out there? Susan, Air 51. How long have we got you for today? Are you already in the ambulance? Yeah, I don't know who the other person was. So they're gone anyway. Probably Shelly. What's that symbol in bed? What's that? It's got a lot of different symbols, huh? Yep. Thanks, Susan. Happy birthday. Who would have thought we got it to 600 uploads? It's crazy, isn't it? That's a lot of work for no money. And I know we've sort of converted quite a few people over the years. One person changed as well with effort, I reckon. Got to be better UFO folks, guys, else we're just going to fall into a pile of poop. I thought it's getting worse again. The content that's being put up by these big channels is just absolutely appalling. Flares and birds and balloons and all the usual crap.
Well,
so you're back?
To be honest, yeah, I'm back. I don't understand why people think ufology is photos and video, because you can never trust this single one of them. Anything can be hoaxed. There's so many possible misidentifications, as you were saying, of birds and skydivers and balloons, and I don't see any value at all in joining channels that are just putting out photos and videos of garbage.
And just talking absolutely nonsense over it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But what we try and do is show people how to look up and research and analyze it, and try and determine,
that's a good thing.
You know, and understand camera artifacts. Because if you don't understand the basics of your camera and the failures of it, then you're always going to be in the dark, right? It's amazing how many people don't understand roll and shutter, you know, and why the light appears over a post, you know, because it's due to roll and shutter. It's nothing to do with how bright it is, which Blake Cousins was suggesting yesterday on one video. So, yeah, if you don't understand the basics,
you've only got to go into Google Images to and type in roll and shutter, and you'll see all the different type of effects you'll get.
I know, I've covered it before. I've actually got a playlist called Camera Artifacts, so yeah, I've put a few in there now, so just go and watch them. So yeah, where do you want to start in this interview? Just play it all, or what?
If you can, and obviously we'll have to stop it now and again for commentary, yes?
Oh yeah, I think it's bad enough.
It's sort of the whole video, but it's not, because this was taken from a large interview, I believe.
Yeah, I think what he does is he cuts down his 2 hours into 10 minutes with some of the best comments made, right? And so it sort of gets people interested in watching the 2 hours, because they're always bitching that they haven't got enough time to watch 2 hours. You know.
I know, I do indeed.
Well, anyway, let's carry on.
Personnel that came out and sanctioned, hey, we need to get this out of the open. Mr. Christopher Mellon just admitted on James Fox's documentary, I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially I believe his words were, you know, twisting the rules or bending the rules a little bit to get this out. Who orchestrated that movement and that push that ultimately happened at the end of 2017?
Look, we don't know the full origin story, and they're not telling us the origin story. They hint a little bit, they mention something here, but in terms of, we're not going to get that. because the origin story begins literally within the military intelligence complex, mostly in the Pentagon, but CIA people were involved, and others working in different agencies and so forth, all with security clearances, all full careers. That's the TTS team, and you know who they are, and your viewers can go to their website and read their resume. I'm absolutely convinced there is no way that this ever happens without support from within the MIC. We don't know how broad it is. We don't know how far up the chain of command it goes, but it's simply not possible. There's just no way. These people have all kinds of non-disclosure agreements, and they have security clearances, and they're going to come out and do this. And the Department of Defense is going, well, we can't stop them. Hey, it's a free country. And no, absolutely not. So that's point one. Point two, we also know that Herman Kahn, the CIA careerist, who was part of the TTA, actually stated to one of our colleagues that there are 30 or 40 people within the Department of Defense who are, how would you say, backing them up, right? So, yes, it is informally sanctioned. It has to be informally sanctioned, which gets us to a key point. What's going on here is extraordinarily complicated. This is not easy. You have to admire the courage to even attempt it, right? So what has happened, as far as I can tell, is that enough support within the Department of Defense developed, at what level we're not sure, to provide cover for these people to go and do what they do. I assume there is also plenty of elements within the MIC that don't want this. They didn't want it. But however strong the detractors are, the people backing them up are apparently powerful enough that they're covered. As you know, in the 3 years, they have not been attacked by any of the agencies or by the military services. There has been no orchestrated effort from within the government to in any way undermine what they're doing.
You're talking about TTSA?
Yes.
Because I'd only respectfully disagree, simply because the Pentagon has, and this leads into my next question, so if you don't mind if I just jump in here. Sure. The Pentagon obviously has muddied the water considerably. Correct. With statements about Mr. Luis Elizondo specifically, which in my opinion is unprecedented. They normally leave names out of it. Snowden, I could think, is really the only more modern example of them taking shots through press statements against a specific American either contractor or serviceman. So for them to go on the record and say this, for me was a little bit, unprecedented in the fact that they did that. So let me ask you that.
I don't apologize there.
Yeah, I did. Hang on, I got to put on the fan too. But yeah, talking about Snowden, I think Trump should pardon him before he leaves office.
Yeah, well, yes, I think he was going to do that. I don't know what happens now, but yeah. Anyway, now Snowden, you can understand why they named him, and they were so vindicative towards Snowden because he'd done a great deal of damage, didn't he? Now, they're naming Louise as well is almost telling you that they were very upset with him. Extremely upset. And it's all about the UFO business. Otherwise, they'd have just blanked him, basically, and just wouldn't have named him. They tried to ruin him by saying he wasn't involved with this and he wasn't involved with that. So please ignore what he's saying. But now it's come out that clearly he was involved. They had to admit it in the end. But they still won't say what position he held. That's with ATIP, of course. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
See it that way. Look,
but you have to admit that was a shot to essentially undermine that effort. Let's get context to this. By the way, as far as Snowden is concerned, we've had people in the Congress call for his execution. So it's a little stronger response to Edward Snowden. Again, remember I said this is an incredibly complex thing that happened? All right.
So one of the problems that they faced was that they were not going to be able to, and I'm sure did not, send out emails to all of the military services, intelligence agencies, and all the PR or public relations departments of all these entities saying, hey, in X number of months, we're going to launch this organization, and it's going to be addressing ET issue. We're going to raise money, and there's a whole bunch of high-level people that work in government going to be. No, they didn't tell anybody. This thing came out absolutely cold. Well, let me put it this way: Tom DeLonge was hinting about it. And it was okay for him to do that. So he was hinting about it, and there was stuff going on a little bit behind the scenes that eventually got outed in the WikiLeaks release. But overall, this was all clandestine. It was all behind the scenes, except for some things that Tom said, but didn't get in any specifics. And so they launched. The rest of the government didn't know. The Pentagon office didn't know. The Navy didn't know. The Air Force didn't know. And so they're all caught, whatever. All right, so that's the way they had to do it. If they had notified all these entities in advance, they would have had so much pushback, they would have never gotten out the door. And so they come out the door, and then naturally, people such as yourself and others, they're going to start looking into this. What's going on here? Call up the Air Force, call up the Navy, call up the Defense Department. What do you know about this? Well, the Defense Department didn't know about this. And so what happened is the spokespeople for the Pentagon made a number of statements that was based on what they had that were ultimately wrong. And they were probably not happy either. Okay. And so that created some confusion, and it's understandable. And it's one of the difficulties they had to face. They were going to have to deal with the confusion that was going to emanate from various parts of the government when they suddenly turned up, and knowing that a lot of journalists are going to be then going to these entities, what the hell is going on here? And they basically handled that pretty well, not too bad. And as far as the fact that the Pentagon spokespeople may have said something critical of Elizondo or got something wrong, that's not the blowback I'm talking about. I'm talking about these gentlemen getting contacts from the Department of Defense basically saying, you will stop this or we will do things which we'll find very unpleasant. And I assure you, every one of them is vulnerable to all of that. That did not happen. I'm almost positive it didn't happen. So again, that tells me that gives me a sense of it. Now, let me restate it a little bit. Remember my public relations theme. And I've stated this before, and I'll continue to do so. If the TTSA corrects me, if they get in touch with me and say, Mr. Bassett, you've got it wrong. This is not the way it was. This is not what's going on. And I'll listen. And I may very well come forward and say, wait a minute, I think I've rethought this. The TTSA is not a scientific organization being created to go and solve the extraterrestrial question. It's not going to create.
Speaking of which, Tom DeLonge just put out another UFO video, which turned out to be another hoax.
Oh, nonsense. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They need to tag him, you know.
Yeah.
It's making him look bad.
Yeah.
But he's known for doing it, and then he's known for deleting what he's put up. Of just a few minutes after.
Yeah, it's a serial deleter.
Put it up. Yeah, it's like as soon as he's put it up and those guys get wind of it, they're like on the phone to him, Tom, get that trash off for now. But it's too late because he's got a massive following and it's been screen captured first. Tom DeLonge, man, I don't know.
Yeah, we looked at it in Midweek Live, I think it was. It was posted up by Scott Brando laughing at it.
Yes,
it was obvious CGI. It looked like a cut-down speedboat that someone used or something, you know. But still, yeah. You should be a bit more clever than that, I think, especially when you're meant to be like.
Well, thought so by now, yeah. But have you ever seen his? I mean, he believed from the outset. You know, he was like an abductee as a kid or an experiencer. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, he wrote a song. I can't remember now. Aliens are something, I don't know. But he hates them. He hates the aliens. I think he said once they should all be gathered together on Mars and nuke them. And crazy stuff, like, you know. But yeah, if you just type in Tom DeLonge alien song, it'll come up. And he's harping on about his childhood and how he was haunted by them. You know? I'm not like you guys.
I don't even like his most popular song, I don't think, if I remember right. But,
jeez, and I think the music's awful, but he still made 80 million pounds, and he has millions of followers, and that's the reason why they had him there, you see, because it brings in a huge audience that the intelligence guys could never have achieved on their own.
So why did the aliens stop visiting them then? That's the question I want to ask.
Plus, I don't know. Plus, Louise, according to Louise, he's paying their wages.
So why isn't no famous podcast out there got him on there to interview him about his childhood abductions then? That sounds like a big story there, doesn't it?
He's only really been interviewed about his involvement with TTSA, isn't he? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think he claims he had visitations. I'm almost certain of that, but well, for him to sing about it, you'd have to say that. I don't know, or maybe he was just a believer. And I don't know, but yeah, Tom DeLonge, he's a bit of a loose cannon, isn't he?
Yep. Especially if you're a head of an organisation, you've got to be a bit more responsible than that. And actually, before you put out any press release, it's got to be run through a couple of people first before they got to accept it.
Well, it's not a press release at all, was it, Paul? It's just his nonsense on Twitter and stuff. Yes.
Well, that's a kind of like a press release nowadays. Social media is bigger than newspapers, right? So
yeah, as I said, they need to gag the guy. He's not doing them any favours at all. But yeah, I mean, because he's not looking to make money out of TTSA anymore. He's back in the new band now. It's called Angels and Airwaves. So yeah. I suppose taking money from that and putting that back.
Baked beans and cheese would be good.
What?
I've been asked what sandwich I want today.
So
toasty. I said baked beans and cheese. Watty's baked beans are the most fabulous. Yeah. So, carry on.
Warp drive. It's going to look into these things, and those are things that may want to engage. Fine. They need to present something like that. But what is it fundamentally? The TTSA is a surrogate entity created to push the disclosure process forward in service to interest entities within the military intelligence complex that are convinced that truth embargo's days need to end, that this thing has got to stop. It's becoming an embarrassment and a problem, and is enormously more difficult every year to maintain. But they can't do it directly.
The
Department of Defense, guys in the Department of Defense just can't start calling up the New York Times.
He keeps banging the mic on his chest, I think. I can hear a strange noise all the time.
And saying, hey, look, I got some gun camera footage here. You want to see it? They can't be speaking out. They serve the president. The president is their commander in chief. Technically, anything of that magnitude can't happen unless the president authorizes it. And so they have been contained. This just to say, from day one, 47 on, anyone in the government, in the military intelligence complex, who are sympathetic to getting this truth out have been contained legally and whatever.
Again, it's no actual proof, really. It's just the opinion still, isn't it?
It says, and you have to take him into account that Stephen Bassett has been predicting disclosure and
for a long time.
Year, yeah, of course. He does tend to be a little bit excitable. I think John is a bit more down to earth with this, but I agree with a lot of what he's been saying here. There's obviously people on the inside that want this out.
Yeah.
And TTSA are working with those people, no question. Just
Yeah,
got to
but
remember how
since
much
all this, a
influence-
lot of stuff has come out though. It's got people talking about UFOs. That's one thing it's done. Again, and outside our inner circles, right? Out there in public, and now it's talking about UFOs again. But I think
Yes.
people have lost interest again, you know, because nothing really happened. So
They've
let's
gotta
say
keep-
they got to keep
they've gotta
releasing
keep
more information.
Yes,
that-
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, what I
Yeah,
forgot
so
what I
we'll
was
see
going
what
to say
this
too.
latest enormous event contains.
Yeah. Oh well.
Okay, so what do? They came up with a brilliant idea. We'll create a surrogate entity made up of former members of the military intelligence complex, which will be very open about all of their ties and the work they did by and large and their clearances and so forth. Clearly one of us, but not working for us anymore. And so they will then take the story to the New York Times. So that gun camera footage goes from a vault in the Department of Defense, either to Elizondo directly, to Mellon directly. Supposedly he got it in a parking lot, or to Elizondo and then to Mellon, whatever. And then it was taken to the New York Times. And everything that's happened since then, they are basically speaking for those elements in the military intelligence complex, whether it's the CIA or the Department of Defense, that this embargo needs to end. And they've been pursuing that in a very orderly fashion, which by and large is being done in a way that's clearly in concert, I think, with what the Department of Defense would want if they were doing it. In other words, national security issues, potential threat issues, set up congressional hearings, develop military witnesses, bring them in to testify. After enough testimony has taken place, then the doors open for the president to announce. This is the proper way to do it. I certainly have always supported that way. But nobody in the field, not me, not Greer, not anybody, has been remotely in a position to be able to do what these gentlemen have done, because we don't have the connections, the gravitas, and the imprimatur provided by people within government. We are outsiders trying to force the government to do what it doesn't want to do. Now we're in a situation where we're trying to help the government do what it wants to do.
Sorry, did you want me to pause it?
No, I'm just saying that's a fact. There's no UFO researcher out there that could have got the subject this far down the line as those people. So, love them or hate them, you have to give them credit for that.
To do, which is why over the last 3 years, you probably noticed, I haven't done much. I made a decision to stay out of their way. In other words, I'm going to let the TTSA do what it needs to do. I'll follow it closely. I'll comment on it from time to time, but I'm not going to try to, get out there and in front of them and whatever. No, they are the point of the spear. They're going to make this happen. They're going to cross the TTSA has taken the football across the end zone, into the end zone. They're going to spike the ball and they're going to get the Super Bowl trophy, and good on them, because if that's what it takes, by God, that's what we have to do.
No.
There we go.
Yeah. Arts and science. Like, the word arts is kind of strange, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even sound like it's UFO related, does it?
No. Should be like To the Stars, research and science or something. Or investigating and research or something,
I don't know. It's almost cagily named in itself, isn't it?
Unless To the Vaults has picked up arts and science from somewhere else, I don't know. But is that what they really call?
No, that's what they're called. Have you never been on their website?
Yeah, but it was a horrible website. I thought it's all like lots of reading and lots of hype and promotions to sell.
Yes.
It's better to just watch the videos and read the key reports that was on there. There's a lot of stuff on there. There's a lot of reading on there that was just overkill, I thought. And we haven't got all that time in the world to read everything under the sun. So, or maybe you have, but I'm too busy with other stuff.
It's a lot to, yeah. You can spend a few hours a day just catching up with all the latest interviews and podcasts and stuff, and then you go on the groups and you see all these articles posted, and they take time to read as well. That's why you watch
podcasts, because people tend to take out the key information and stick it into a little show or a little topic, and just do that topic. And saves you a lot of time going through all the same documents. That's what Blackvault does with the FOIA. It pulls out, how horrible they are reading all those government things. They all sort of repeat themselves and got a lot of red tape and names and things blacked out, and you sort of have to read it and then put it all together and then say, yeah, this actually happened over this area.
Well,
those yeah. It's really dry going through documents, I think.
Yeah, it is, but that's why John Greenwald is such an asset, because he's doing it for us and he's putting it in in a nutshell, for us to look at, really. And you can actually troll through the documents yourself, but he's already analysed them and he's giving you the gist of it. You don't have to read it all.
Yeah. The short attention span that's out there anyway. But let's see, what do we got next coming up?
Yeah, there's a case in New Zealand out. Got this one for you because I wasn't sure if you were aware of this.
Yeah, I've got all the X-Files from DOD, but again, it's a lot of dry reading. I've done a 1950s to 70s, didn't I? But I was meant to do more on it. But I've actually got some other stuff I was meant to go through and never had time to read out some of the stories, yeah, it's not letting me sort of select it. I know it was. Yeah, let's see if it works. Looks like it. Hey. So how'd you say that word?
It's let me see the spelling again now. Oh, it's the Muriwai, is it? Muriwai beach encounter. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, that's said why, which means water, I think.
I think I'd have to hear that.
Muriwai Beach, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how they say it on that here. Let's see. Oh.
Muriwai Beach Encounter, 2014.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Mary words can be tricky. So we can carry on from there, I think. 2014, that's pretty recent. Don't remember any news report about UFO there. But we'll see if it jogs memory.
This is a new article as well, by the way.
So that's after all the big quakes too. What were they? 2011, wasn't it? Like, time flies.
2014. Background. During 2011 to 2016, a significant number of UFO sightings of large silver/white cylindrical objects have occurred in New Zealand. Witnesses described tubular, torpedo, or cigar-shaped cylinders with rounded ends, sometimes surrounded by a white or blue-green glow, or with flashing blue-green lights and a single red light on the undersurface. Several witnesses reported daytime sightings of the objects emerging from unusual clouds that initially formed around a large bright light. The subject of this account, Sarah Goldsack, is an advanced medic and is currently completing a paramedicine degree. As a paramedic, Sarah deals with emergency situations where practical observational, analytical, and decision-making skills are vital to save lives. Sarah is also a member of the Auckland Astronomical Society and a member of NZ's Volunteer Fire Brigade Service. A multiple witness sighting. On Tuesday, January 6, 2014, at 10:27 a.m., 47-year-old Sarah was driving towards Muriwai Beach, a long and relatively remote beach situated west of Auckland, New Zealand's largest city. Sarah reported, "The weather was fine and clear with no wind, with only 2 small clouds visible in the sky. I was driving in a 100 km/h zone on SH16/Kaipara Coast Highway, going to Muriwai Beach, when I rounded a corner and saw about 6 cars in front of me, all traveling slowly. Several cars stopped and people got out, staring and pointing at the sky. Looking up, I saw a large bright white cylindrical object had appeared out of nowhere in the sky, clearly visible above the 2 clouds, but at a higher altitude and further distant. I thought to myself, this is going to be massive news. And instantly knew it was something not from Earth. I pulled over into a driveway and observed. A car coming from the opposite direction also pulled over, and a man got out and took photos of the object. I tried to get his attention, but neither he nor his passenger acknowledged my presence the whole time I was there. At first the object was directly up in front of me, and when I lined it up with a tree, I saw it was hovering and not moving. Then it changed direction and moved out above the Kaipara harbor. It was completely silent and massive, much larger than an airliner, but without wings or tail, like a long cigar-shaped glowing bright white metallic, emitting light rather than reflecting sunlight. I tried to take photos with my phone, but later discovered the object did not show up in the first 2 photos, and appeared as a blurry shape in the third. I watched the object for what felt like only seconds, but the time on my phone indicated I was there for around 4 minutes, after which the object just literally disappeared from the sky. While attempting to take photographs of the object, Sarah was distracted by what she described as a small dark metallic object that flashed in front of her and around the other witnesses, just seconds before the cylinder disappeared. At this point, everybody got back into their cars and continued on their journeys. In retrospect, Sarah thought this was unusual considering they had all just witnessed a UFO sighting. One might expect they would briefly talk about the event to each other, look at the digital photos they had captured, discuss possible media involvement, and perhaps exchange contact details before leaving the vicinity. This high strangeness continued, because as Sarah drove away, she instantly forgot about the incident as she continued on to Muriwai Beach. She later wondered if the small metallic object had played a part in her apparent temporary memory loss, and the fact the witnesses departed without any communication with each other. The sighting was not reported in the media, and she speculated that the other witnesses may have forgotten the incident too, and their photos may also have been indistinct, or they were simply afraid of derision. While attempting to take photographs of the object, Sarah was distracted by what she described as a small dark metallic object that flashed in front of her and around the other witnesses, just seconds before the cylinder disappeared. At this point, everybody got back into their cars and continued on their journeys. In retrospect, Sarah thought this was unusual considering they had all just witnessed a UFO sighting. One might expect they would briefly talk about the event to each other, look at the digital photos they had captured, discuss possible media involvement, and perhaps exchange contact details before leaving the vicinity. This high strangeness continued, because as Sarah drove away, she instantly forgot about the incident as she continued on to Muriwai Beach. She later wondered if the small metallic object had played a part in her apparent temporary memory loss, and the fact the witnesses departed without any communication with each other.
I don't think so.
The sighting was not reported in the media, and she speculated that the other witnesses may have forgotten the incident too, and their photos may also have been indistinct, or they were simply afraid of derision. Paranormal events. Map of Muriwai Beach with Sarah's route in red. Sarah arrived at the entrance to Woodhill Forest at 10:42 a.m., and after a further 10-minute drive, she reached the Muriwai Beach car park and walkway to the beach. The car park was empty and the beach deserted as Sarah turned to the right and began her usual walk to the north. She always took her cell phone with her for security and enjoyed capturing images of the wild seascape and foreshore. By 11:14 a.m. Sarah was now out of view from the distant car park and continued walking for another 30 minutes or so. Eventually she noticed an unusual haze forming on the beach around 100 m ahead of her between the sandhills and the sea, quite unlike the familiar sea spray that often rolls in over the beach from the turbulent west coast waters. The mist was gathering only on the section of beach ahead of her, while the rest of the beach behind Sarah was clear. Thinking this was odd, she took a photo of it. Sarah stated, "I began to feel tired, as if I had been walking for several hours. Everything seemed to go dark all of a sudden, even though there was a blue sky and a bright sunny day. I started feeling strange and noticed the haze ahead of me beginning to close in around me. All of a sudden my hearing went funny, there was no sound of the ocean beside me or seabirds. I felt as if I was walking in a dream without exerting any effort, no longer in control of my own movements. It was as if my body was there, but I, or my consciousness, was not. I moved towards the mirage-like haze and everything I looked at seemed distorted. Ahead of me I could see a dark fluid figure at the water's edge looking out towards the ocean. Several other figures emerged from the mist, to my right. They seemed too tall, and I vaguely wondered if they were actually that tall, or whether they were floating, or maybe I was floating. I could no longer coordinate my body at all, but I knew I had to go towards them. I wanted to go to them. Interaction and missing time. From this point on, Sarah has little recollection of what happened next, or in the following space of time. She has fragmented memories of bright white light, and being inside a stark room. She retained memory of indistinct beings in the room that showed her images, whether on a screen or in her mind she is not sure. Sarah felt this information did not relate to her personally, but related to global events the beings had grave concerns about. She did not feel afraid. However, Sarah's next recollection resulted in a chain reaction of fear and confusion. Without any memory of how she got there, she seemingly woke up crouching down in the high sand dunes. She felt strangely euphoric, unlike herself, and she was laughing out loud. Sarah stated, "Sarah at the location, note the steepness of the sand hills. I can't believe I was doing that. I'm usually a quiet practical person. I calmed down and quickly climbed down out of the sand dunes, all the while trying to remember how I had even got there in the first place. Note, the west coast sand dunes are heavy black iron sand. They are steep and difficult to climb, and are dangerous as they are prone to collapsing and people have died in such situations. As I walked back down towards the water I began feeling very afraid. I looked down at the sand and noticed my footprints. They stopped at that point, and I couldn't understand why they did not go up into the dunes. But what scared me even more was seeing another clear set of footprints right beside mine, although I had not seen another person since arriving at the beach. I walked beside the footprints for a while taking photographs, and noticed that the other footprints showed someone had been walking beside me for the latter part of my walk, but I hadn't seen anyone. They were an unusual shape, like nothing I had seen before, longer than mine, flat, and almost rectangular, with claws-like indentations at one end of the foot. Both sets of prints disappeared with the incoming tide about where I had seen the dark fluid figure standing by the shore, and near where the three figures emerged from the mist. By now Sarah was terrified and tried to call her husband on her cell phone, but her call failed despite the fact the signal strength was fine. From here on she wavered between feeling afraid and trying to convince herself she must have imagined the whole thing. She did not feel secure until she reached the car park and saw other people walking down to the beach. She maintained this feeling throughout her drive back through Woodhill Forest, but fear arose again when she spoke briefly to the forest rangers at the entrance gate, who were familiar with seeing Sarah. They had called out hello to her as she arrived, but on exiting, one of them called out, "That was a long walk. We were thinking of sending out a search party for you." This was the first indication to Sarah that the walk had taken much longer than usual, and she could not account for much of what had happened during some 45 to 60 minutes. It was at this point she recalled the sighting of the white cylindrical object a couple of hours earlier, and was finally able to call her husband by cell phone and speak to him for the entire journey home. Note, the fact Sarah forgot the sighting in the first place is unusual, but she believes that if she had recalled the sighting, she may have been less likely to continue on her walk where subsequent events occurred. Missing phone.
That's what worries me, to be honest.
Sarah had captured photo evidence of events, including the blurry, white cylinder, the unusual mist, and the footprints. She began researching the internet to find someone who might be able to comment on these images. The following Monday evening she attended fire brigade training. This finished around 9 p.m., and Sarah picked up her cell phone, medical pager, and car keys from where she had left them inside the fire station. She said goodbye to the fire crew, and placed the medical pager and phone on the passenger seat of her car, as she always does. Setting off on the drive home, she began to feel disoriented, struggling to maintain focus, and by the time she pulled into the driveway, she was shocked to discover the phone was no longer on the seat. She and her husband searched the car and returned to the fire station, where some of the fire crew helped to search the area around the station, and again in the car, but the phone was never found despite several of the fire crew confirming they had seen Sarah take it to her car. That night Sarah and her husband woke in the...
See, it's got some parts of the story which are, I don't know, quite persuasive. You know, the confusion, the missing time, the distortion. There's some parts of it that make me feel this whole thing's been manufactured. You know, the whole story's been manufactured. And it's just yet another case where a photograph or camera goes mysteriously missing.
Plus, where's all the other witnesses, and why didn't it make the newspapers? Because normally New Zealand UFOs make the papers, right?
Yeah, you'd have thought somebody else would have come forward if there was that many people.
And more pictures taken, of course, because everybody had a phone back in 2014.
Absolutely. Well, everyone had the camera phone back in 2014.
I don't think it's a real photo, that one, is it?
No, it's not, Paul. It's, I'm sure it's an artist rendition.
Doesn't say, does it?
Doesn't say, which isn't good. It's probably it's just being used as a stock photo or...
Woke in the early hours to find the house flooded with white light, but inexplicably went back to sleep. In the following weeks, Sarah experienced vivid dreams, heard unusual buzzing sounds, found unexplained bruises on her body, and had recollection of waking in a vague state to see figures in her room at night. Sarah contacted Papakura on January 12th, 6 days after the events, and we can confirm that throughout the whole investigation into Sarah's experiences, there have been a number of anomalies happen. The missing phone, emails that have been sent, but have never arrived, and in the following weeks Sarah noticed her car was being tailed and her house watched, confirmed by other workmates. A history of paranormal events uncovered.
So where's these mates coming forward now?
During subsequent discussions with Sarah, she revealed a number of interesting details, which might indicate a lifetime of paranormal experiences, if not alien contact. She described infant memories of seeing a vivid white orb that she came to consider as a friend, naming it Jennifer. The orb was beautiful and friendly, and Sarah believes it taught her things. From the age of 7 she began occasionally seeing a figure beside her bed looking down at her in the night, but it was not one of her parents. At age 8 she went missing for 2 hours on the way to school, causing panic for her parents and school teacher. She has no memory of where she was during this time, or how she eventually turned up at school. At age 10, Sarah contracted a severe dose of English measles with high fevers. She recalls an out-of-body experience, where she hovered up in the corner of her bedroom watching her parents, and the visiting doctor, and she could see they were all very upset. The next thing that happened was I felt very warm, and found myself spiraling up a long white tunnel. I felt calm and loved. A voice spoke to me, "Sarah, it is not your time. It is too soon." I found myself back in my body, and I thought this happened to everyone who was sick. At age 12 Sarah began seeing glowing white orbs in her bedroom again, communicating with her. Her mother told her she must have inherited the family gift of seeing spirits, having déjà vu experiences, and seeing into the future. In 1995, aged 27, Sarah recalled a vivid dream, and wondered whether it was a memory of an actual event. She recalled lying on the floor of a bright white room, in what she thought was an alien craft. She looked to either side of her, and saw there were about 20 other humans lying in a line beside her, still and seemingly asleep, or immobilized. 2 entities walked along the line, one of them holding a device in his hand. Sarah wanted to move her body, but was paralyzed. She did not feel fear, but more like intrigue about what was happening. Sarah could hear the entities talking telepathically, discussing each human. They noticed she was awake and approached her, and there her dream memory ended. In 2012, Sarah and her husband were living out in the country. In March, they observed a large disc-shaped object surrounded by an orange glow, moving above adjacent farmland. Early the following morning they awoke to the sound of several helicopters, and observed them flying back and forth in a grid-like pattern over the farmland where they had sighted the object. Sarah wrote to the Air Force about the incident, asking if they had received any similar sighting reports. She wondered whether the object they observed could have been part of Exercise Kiwi Flag, a training exercise conducted from RNZAF base, Auckland around that time. However, she received a reply from a squadron leader, who stated the training exercises had not yet commenced at the time of her sighting, and all aircraft were on the ground at the time she and her husband observed the object. Papakura has a copy of this letter. In our interviews, Sarah mentioned that on a number of occasions in her job as an emergency paramedic, while working on severely injured accident victims, she has felt an intense urge to channel healing through her hands and mind. She has been reluctant to speak openly of this previously for fear of losing her position. However, she has spoken with a fellow paramedic who has experienced similar. She believes this healing intervention to have been vital and successful on a number of occasions. Summary. The silver/white cylindrical object Sarah observed in January 2014 was similar to other such objects sighted around New Zealand over a period of recent years. In fact, 2 similar reports arrived at the time of writing this article. Sarah mentioned a crucial detail often reported to UFOs by witnesses of sightings and or close encounters, that everything appeared momentarily dark around her just before paranormal/interaction incidents began. Sarah has reported experiencing ongoing paranormal and possible alien contact experiences throughout her life. At this point in time she does not wish to investigate the Muriwai beach experience of missing time through regressive hypnosis. Her life centers round her humanitarian profession as an emergency paramedic, and she has accepted paranormal events as a fact of life for her.
Ambo, like Area 51.
Susie Hansen, copyright 2016.
That's it. I don't know what to make of
ufocusnz at
that.
extra.co.
Stop reading thing. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this
I
one.
don't know.
There should be a lot of witnesses to this, I think. And
Yeah.
least a photograph of these so-called helicopters, let alone a video. 2012. I think we had smartphones back then for $100 with a camera, didn't we? 2012. Yep.
Jeez, long before that.
I'm just thinking about New Zealand. We're always a wee bit behind.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some red flags there. Definitely. And I don't want to call her a liar. Do you know what I mean? If that's a real occupation, you wouldn't have thought somebody like that would make stuff up. But you just never know.
Yeah. Some of it might be true. Some of it might be storytelling. Of course.
Yeah.
Seemed to me from the beginning of the article she knew it was aliens, right? So and then we find out that she's had a history of encounters,
supernatural type experiences, yeah.
Mm.
Let's scroll back to the top of that.
Yeah.
Right to the top. Oh yeah, it's that I don't know, UFO Centre for New Zealand or whatever it is. So that's obviously one of their editorials.
Yeah. Probably have to scale it down a bit. There we go, that's better. Yeah, so how much have they got here? They haven't really broken it down, have they? Oh, they got year number. So let's have a look at 2020 while we're here then.
Yeah, that's what Area 51 is saying now. We don't know for a fact that's, the real occupation. Could have just been added to give the case more credibility. There's a lot of work needs to be done on that case before it can be taken seriously, I'm afraid.
Mokoroa, and Dad goes there quite often. Banks Peninsula. So let's just read out some of these reports then. There's not much on the page. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, go and have a look.
Alright, so I don't want to select it. I just want to say read it. So here we go.
New Zealand UFO/UAP sightings 2020. All sightings, photographs, drawings and articles are copyright Papakura. The extent of our investigation and analysis of sighting reports is dependent upon the data received and the length of time elapsed between the sighting event and the receipt of a report. If applicable, additional comments are made at the bottom of a report. Date: Saturday, July 11th, 2020. Time: approximate 5:50 to 6:30 p.m. Location: Lake Ellesmere, Canterbury, South Island.
Been there.
Features/characteristics: bright green light. Description: the witness stated, "We were driving back from Mokoroa, Banks Peninsula, heading northwest, when a sharp, bright green light propelled straight down towards the lake's surface in a direct movement. It was moving super fast, then slowed and disappeared. It left no tail. Estimated distance from the observer approximately 1 kilometer. Date: March 2020. Time: 9 p.m. Location: Helensville, Northland, North Island. Features/characteristics: intense white light. Description: calm clear night, duration of sighting several seconds. The two witnesses, a police file manager and a former police officer/airfield officer, observed a brilliant, extremely intense round white light flash, with a rough outline as it flashed. The witnesses are familiar with the landing lights of aircraft passing over en route to Auckland International Airport, but they described this light as a lot bigger than an aircraft coming in. It was approximately at 500 m altitude. The light headed west to east at high speed, leaving a long tail. There was no sound.
That sounds like a comet, doesn't it?
Tail.
Posts.
Yeah, come on. Straight away. That's going to lead you to that conclusion, isn't it?
Yeah, space rock. So, 2 sightings for this year. Well, that's the first time I've heard this mentioned. I haven't heard those ones on the news. Normally you hear multiple witness ones, like the West Coast one, where they had a light that was zigzagging in the sky and everybody was watching it.
I don't know how open they are in New Zealand. I didn't even know they had a dedicated reporting network, to be honest.
Well, really, you'd need to send us on to MUFON, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if you put about it, it might tell you how long they've been going.
Well, I don't know.
No, if you click on there, it might tell you something.
Yeah. I don't know if any of them are MUFON members. It doesn't say, does it?
Okay, so it says research database. Well, that's a bit different. Okay, they do investigation. And they do, okay. And witness interviews.
Sounds like they're trying to be a MUFON to me. So I don't know how they make money from it.
We don't necessarily have to be making money.
Well, they said they own copyright.
They probably have a membership fee, don't they?
So these ones were witness served 5 clusters. Okay, let's have a...
I don't know. I haven't looked at them all. I only looked at that one.
They're only little brief things. There's no pictures from what I'm seeing anyway.
New Zealand UFO/UAP sightings 2019. All sightings, photographs, drawings, and articles. The extent of our investigation and analysis of sighting reports is dependent upon the data received and the length of time elapsed between the sighting event and the receipt of a report. If applicable, additional comments are made at the bottom of a report. Date: Friday, January 25, 2019. Time: 3 a.m. Location: Kerikeri, Northland, North Island. Features/characteristics: cluster of lights in arc shape. Description: cloudy night, duration of sighting at least 30 minutes. The witness observed 5 clusters of lights forming an arc, which remained visible for approximately 30 minutes at an estimated distance of 3 kilometers, traveling slowly in a northerly direction from the township of Kerikeri. Some of the clusters were momentarily obscured by passing clouds. The witness was really frightened by the sight and stated she normally does not wake at night, but on this occasion she woke unexpectedly and could immediately see the lights through her bedroom window. Date: Sunday, January 27, 2019. Time: 11 p.m. Location: Featherston, North Island. Features/characteristics: large bright gold light. Description: clear conditions. Duration of sighting 2 minutes. The observer saw a large bright gold light above the Ramataka Hills behind the township in a southerly direction, which appeared like the Star of Bethlehem. The light rose in altitude quite quickly, flared, then faded and completely disappeared. Papakura comment: this was most likely a lantern which caught a rising air current and burned out, usually within 2 minutes, and accompanied by a brief flare. Date: Wednesday, January 2nd, 2019. Time: 10:50 a.m. Location: Napier/Taupo Highway, North Island.
Well, from the Northland.
Features/characteristics: daytime sighting of unconventional white flying object. Description: the witness stated, "I was driving home from visiting White Pine Bush Reserve on the Napier-Wairoa Road. It was roughly 10:50 a.m. I was driving at about 80 kilometers an hour and had my windows open enjoying the beautiful day. I noticed a plane flying over. Then a few kms later, as I drove closer to the bridge near the major intersection, I noticed a bright flash in the sky that caught my attention out of the corner of my eye. I looked up and saw an unusual white object. At first I thought it was a small stationary cloud, but wondered, because it had a slightly ovoid shape with thin edges that didn't look natural, but which wasn't actually a typical saucer shape. It was stationary and slightly to my right when I first saw it. It then moved from my right to my left horizontally, until it was slightly over the top of, or in front of the hill near the intersection, perhaps 1.5 kilometers distant. As I was driving, and it was a windy road, this took most of my attention, but then I noticed the object started to move to the left. I kept it in sight as best I could in among the tall trees at the sides of the road. I looked for a place to safely pull over and take a picture, as at this stage it was low enough that I would have been able to catch it clearly on my phone camera. As I watched, it rose slowly into the sky vertically, unlike an aircraft. Then just as I found a place to pull over, and I was getting my phone out, it simply vanished in front of my eyes, not like it had gone so high that I couldn't see it, but it simply vanished, or perhaps accelerated so fast I could not see its ascent.
Interesting.
The thing that really struck me...
But even if she got the phone out, it would have been overexposed. It would have been just crap photograph. Because the cameras are not really good for nighttime photographs at all.
No, they're useless.
And you need the special night vision for that.
Yeah.
Me about this is that it appeared totally white like the clouds, not silver, and did not at all appear to be in any hurry, moving in an almost leisurely pace across the sky. It seemed to turn so the shape was more rectangular from the view I had, so I'm not really sure of the actual shape of it. There was no sound whatsoever, completely silent, and I did hear the plane previous to that. Also, it seemed to glide through the sky. Witnesses photos of the location with Photoshop illustrations and text below.
Photoshop.
Oh, yeah. Don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, we do get a lot of little clouds in New Zealand that do move quite fast, so could you have seen a white cloud that was sort of lit up for some reason? Maybe the moon that night? I don't know. Could have been a plane, even, you know. Because they're playing at 30,000 feet, would show up at that level here. And it'll be that size on her picture. That could easily be like a commercial jet at 30,000 feet. That altitude there. We've looked at these type ones before. Hey, we got some twinkle sounds. Ambulance, thanks for your $5. That's your name in. Oh yeah, just coming up now.
Yeah.
It stays on the screen a bit longer now so you can catch it.
Very kind.
How was that sent? Because normally you can put a message with it if it's an OBS tip. Yeah, why is it not working now? Has it got a message underneath? Let's have a look. Oh, it's gone now. I missed it. Normally I'd have a message underneath. I wasn't sure whether there was one. Alright, you didn't see the message of it. Oh well. I thought you might have said happy 600th maybe. Anyway, so that was all those ones. Suppose we could
you don't
read...
care about that.
Could read out the next page, I suppose. More current ones should be more interesting because we've got the technology now. So
yeah, it's not just that. Them just noticed I think they only started in 2011 by the looks of it, because they've got no cases earlier than that, have they? So.
People don't seem to see much here, though, I find. And when you're reading these ones, it still could be mistaken, like LED balloons, planes.
Of course.
You know, helicopters in the distance you won't hear them. And you can see here there's no photograph on that one even. Yeah, so looks like it's a long one, so let's read it out, I guess.
Articles. Contact. All sightings.
Come on.
The extent of our investigation and analysis of sighting reports is dependent upon the data received and the length of time elapsed between the sighting event and the receipt of a report.
Of course.
If applicable, additional comments are made at the bottom of a report. Date: Wednesday, February 28, 2018. Time: between 2 to 2:30 p.m. Location: Glenroy, Selwyn, Canterbury, South Island. Features/characteristics:
Not far
daylight
away.
sighting of black aerial object. Description: the witness holds a private pilot license. Clear and sunny conditions, a
This
few
one
high
might be
clouds.
interesting.
Duration of sighting approximately 6 to 10 seconds.
It must have been moving faster.
The witness was riding his motorcycle along Downs Road. At the junction with SH77, he stopped to look right to check for approaching traffic, when he saw an object approaching in the sky in the distance, and assumed it was an aircraft. He made a left turn, looked to the right over a fence, and saw what he described as a squashed donut-shaped object coming towards the road ahead of him, moving extremely fast. It crossed over the road just above tree height, and was lost from view as it passed over trees. The witness sped up to find a
Why
gap in
didn't I
the
see
trees in an
anything like
attempt
that?
to see the object again, but in the intervening 3 or 4 seconds it had gone. He stated it resembled a large burger size in the distance, but clear enough to see the outline. There were no wings, tail, or sound. The black ellipse-shaped object had no vertical surfaces, but had a very smooth outline, with no visible textural
Still
features
sounds like
or
a
writing
black
on its surface.
letter O balloon, though.
The witness emphasized his recollection of how sharp and distinct the outline was. He estimated the object covered a distance of 5 to 8 kilometers in well under 10 seconds, and at its closest point to the observer, was some 1.5 to 2 kilometers distant. At its closest proximity it looked to be about
You'd
the
need to
size of a
calculate
living
into
room.
speed, I suppose.
The witness stated, "I have flown aircraft a lot and I am familiar with most aircraft types, but this was really something else. The sheer speed, dark color and absence of any exterior features were quite remarkable, and I wished that the experience had lasted longer." The witness
That
was
sounds
left
more-
with various impressions. He pulled over to
What'd you say?
Sounds a bit more convincing, this one, to me.
Yeah. Needs some calculations done on it, though. To
Yeah.
see how fast it's moving, whether it could have been a balloon. And a bit of... It gets quite windy here in Canterbury, and it's not unheard of to have 100 mile an hour winds. So a helium balloon's going to move quite fast, especially in norwesterly, which I think that would be the direction it was coming from by the sounds of that, I think. But, let's see. Yeah, I'd have to look at the bigger map. You can see there's a lot of farmland out this way.
to the side of the road on his motorcycle and tried to make sense of what he had seen and what it was. He described a consciousness shift at the time, during which he experienced heightened emotion, elation, empowerment, and regret that he could not photograph the object. He said he had been in car and bike accidents where time seems to slow, but this experience was different from that. He felt he went into some other state of mind. To the Papakura interviewer, this sounded much like Oz factor state of consciousness frequently described by UFO/UAP witnesses worldwide, where for several seconds the observer seems to operate in an altered state of consciousness and awareness that they feel is closely aligned to the UFO/UAP. All sound recedes, time seems to slow, and distinct feelings and emotions are a part of the experience. Another factor the witness reported was that he was left with the strong feeling that he cannot explain, that the surface of the object was soft, despite the distinct outline of a hard object. Search.
Still sounds like a balloon.
Recent posts.
I don't know. I'm not convinced that was a balloon at all. So he's a pilot as well. You'd imagine that he would know the difference.
No, they can be mistaken. We had lots of videos where that they filmed up and people said it was a UFO. It turns out to be a balloon.
Yeah, I can't see a balloon going from, rising in 6 to 10 seconds.
Well, I don't know.
That's just too quick. I don't care if the winds were 100 mile an hour. I think you'd have kept it in sight a lot longer than that.
Going across the road, I think that's typical of a balloon. Gone.
Yeah, but it was out of sight. It didn't disappear behind a landmark, did it? It went out of sighting that time. I don't know. That sounds like a genuine sighting, but it's single witness again. Yeah, of course, it could be something mundane.
Of course, out of sight means if it's a balloon, it could just popped, right, and disappeared. You don't see it popping. It just shrivels up to nothing, pretty much, and your eyes don't see it. Especially black on a bright sunny day at, 2 p.m. was it? Under 10 seconds. So let's see, what's 8 kilometers divided by 10 seconds to miles per hour? How do we calculate that?
So you estimated here, Paul, this is the most important thing. It's covered 5 to 8 kilometers in under 10 seconds. Now, if he's got his calculations right, it's not a balloon. Unless it was a balloon with a jetpack.
I don't know.
So you're missing important parts of information now. It's about 5 miles, Paul.
Equals miles per hour. 1,800 miles per hour.
No, that's wrong. Good God, no.
That's what a conversion is. It's generally right. So that mean that would be what, Mach 2 almost? Speed of sound was what, 700?
Hold on, I've missed something here. What's going on now? How many kilometers per hour did he say?
He didn't say, I don't think. That's why I'm calculating it.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, yeah, okay, so 5 to 8. Okay, covered 5 to 8 kilometers in well under 10 seconds.
Which means
so that's.
I just did the calculations. 1,800 miles per hour.
1,800 miles per hour.
Speed of sound. Speed of sound.
Well, that's about 700 miles an hour.
I think it is.
Depending on altitude.
Oh, come on.
So that's 730 something it is.
Speed of sound, miles per hour. 777 or something?
No, about 730 odd.
767, yeah.
Yeah.
sound, and of course that's what they call Mach 1, isn't it? So it's doing Mach 2 there, 2 and a bit, which is possible with a low-flying jet. But looking like a ring, I don't know.
Like a burger, yeah, with a totally smooth surface.
Unless he's mistaken about the distances.
Could have been, but he'd still be a better observer than the average person.
Yeah. So this web page, haven't got any calculations or anything. They don't talk about what they investigated and went there or took photographs. So it makes me wonder what they actually are researching.
Yeah, have they got somebody with scientific background on the team? Don't know, do we?
Well, I reckon they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never heard of them. So I suspect they're in North Island. So they probably haven't got investigators spread throughout the country. This is the problem with MUFON. That's why Earl Grey is always trying to get me to be like a chapter of MUFON in South Island because they got nobody. But yeah, as you know, you got to pay it all out your own pockets and travel in your own car, buy your own petrol or gas, as they call it in America.
Yeah, I know.
And it's quite a big. It might be an island, but it's quite a big area to travel, and it could take you all day to get to some of these places. Let's see, you can get across the South Island in half a day. It's like a full-time job. So that was 2018, wasn't it? So they only had one report reported to them in the whole year. That's kind of bad. There's 2, 3.
Unless they've only kept the best ones.
Yeah, I don't think we get too much in New Zealand, eh?
New Zealand UFO/UAP sightings 2017. All sightings, photographs, drawings and articles are copyright UFOs.NZ.
Yeah, we know that.
The extent of our investigation and analysis of sighting reports is dependent upon the data received and the length of time elapsed between the sighting event and the receipt of a report. If applicable, additional comments are made at the bottom of a report.
Yeah, they seem to repeat that same thing here.
Yeah, see, the thing is with New Zealand, this is maybe the only reporting centre it's got. And if you live in America, or even if you live in the UK, there's multiple places you can go to report the sighting. Now, people could be seeing things just as often in New Zealand as they are anywhere else. There could be maybe more stigma. There could be more. Well, how do you know, Paul? Just because you haven't seen anything doesn't mean to say other people aren't seeing anything. And at the end of the day, how much of you out of the house? How often do you go out? Not often. You're home all the time on the computer. Well, yeah, it's a fact. I haven't seen anything much in years unusual at all. And I mean, I haven't seen a plane because I'm at home most of the time.
Well, I see plenty of planes in the sky. I haven't seen any balloons.
How many people in New Zealand know about this New Zealand reporting centre? I bet hardly anybody knows about it.
Well, obviously these people search where to report it, or they were searching to see if anyone else. Maybe they're searching to see if anyone else reported the same site, and generally that's what happens, right? And they come across this one and thought they'd just report it to them. But everybody should know about MUFON, though.
Do they ridicule UFO sightings in your country?
Well, don't all news channels?
There you go, you see. That makes people a lot less willing to report them.
Report.
I think it's a global phenomenon.
Date: Wednesday, April 19th, 2017. Time: 5:35 a.m. Location, Wakefield, Nelson, South Island.
Top of the
Features
South Island.
/ characteristics, large yellow light. Description: sky clear and dark. Duration of sighting approximately 1.5 minutes. The witness was walking to his car
That
when he noticed
sounds
a bright light
International
moving through the
Space
sky.
Station straight away.
It was traveling north over Wakefield when he first saw it, and he judged its altitude to be about 700 to 800 feet, moving slowly. He tapped on the bedroom window to wake his wife, and she also witnessed the bright yellow light. They continued to watch the light until it was obscured from view. The two witnesses judged the bright light to be about the size of a car.
Sounds
Date,
like International
Saturday,
Space
April
Station.
1st, 2017. Time, midnight. Location, Upper Riccarton, Christchurch, South Island.
Riccarton.
Features / characteristics, 2 red objects, distinct shapes. Description: warm, still evening, no wind, clear visibility. Duration of sighting 7 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The witness and his wife had arrived home, and were standing in their driveway admiring the Milky Way, when 2 objects passed overhead in formation, one slightly behind the other. They were dark red and not particularly bright, and shaped similar to the Spark logo, star-like. However, the width of each object was greater than the length, and they appeared to have 4 winglets. They tracked across the sky from east to west, very fast. The witness estimated that they took 7 seconds to go from roughly overhead to around 40 degrees above the horizon, when they were obscured from view behind rooflines. The witness thinks they converged and crossed over each other's track just before becoming obscured. They were completely silent and had no flashing lights. The witnesses considered birds, satellites, planes, and drones as possible explanations, but discounted all of these as they did not match the characteristics of what they had observed. Date: Wednesday, January 18th,
Nice
2017.
smartphone app.
Time:
Yeah.
5:40 a.m. Location: Wakefield, Tasman, Nelson, South Island. Features / characteristics, bright yellow light. Description: duration of sighting approximate 10 to 15 seconds. The witness was walking out his front gate to go to work early in the morning, when he observed a large yellow object / light traveling east to west at an estimated altitude of 700 to 800 feet. Its speed was slow, estimated at 40 kilometers an hour. The witness watched as the object / light moved away from him, traveling horizontally in a straight line. He estimated the object's size to be at least as big as a car. He was not able to discern any sound at all from the object, and there were no blinking lights. The witness remained watching the object / light until it passed into cloud. Search.
Yeah.
Recent
There's
post.
nothing about that, it's not doing anything. It's moving slowly. It's moving in one direction.
Which suggests
There's nothing about...
air current.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so...
You see, he says it's at least as big as a car, but he could have been way off, couldn't he,
Yeah, you generally
Not
are,
sure.
I think.
Yeah, members of the public generally are way off.
Yeah. Let's see. They don't have much really, but that one looks pretty good. Okay, let's have a read of that one. That one's got a bit of blurb.
All sightings, photographs, drawings.
Yeah.
The extent of our investigation.
Yeah.
Date: Friday, August 19th, 2016. Time: approximate 10:10 p.m. Location: Waitahanui, Sthn, end of 5 Mile Bay, Lake Taupo, North Island. Features / characteristics: kidney-shaped object with bright white lights.
Strange.
Description. Duration of sighting 1 to 2 minutes.
Oh.
The witness stated, the incident happened at approximately 10:10 p.m. While I was passing through a small township named Waitahanui, southern end of 5 Mile Bay on the eastern shore of Lake Taupo, en route through Rainbow Point to Taupo Town Center, I spotted 2 bright lights hovering above the red light aircraft beacon at Taupo Airport. I assumed it was an aircraft, from the distance I was from the lights.
Could have been a drone.
Witnesses Photoshop drawing of the object. As I got closer to the airport, I remembered the regular aircraft and helicopters had blinking lights on their tails, so this was incredibly unusual. Furthermore, Taupo Airport was closed for the night. I then realized that it was a hovering object, stationary above the beacon, with 2 massive white lights at its base. I rounded a curve and proceeded onto a long straight on the Lake Edge Highway, and as I began driving perpendicular to the object, it started moving towards me. I thought to myself that it was just a coincidence, and that the unusual aircraft was just going to pass behind me. However, it moved steadily towards my vehicle as if it was following me. This is when I got a good visual of the object. It had a kidney-shaped base with 2 massive white lights at the bottom. If I was to guess its altitude above my vehicle, it would have been about 20 to 30 feet, and its size was roughly that of 4 to 5 regular-sized cars side by side. There seemed to be no obvious form of propulsion, and it was also rotating slowly. I had my window down slightly, and there was no sound coming from it either. The object then sped up a little, hovering over my vehicle, and pacing me for some distance along the straight. I hit my foot on the accelerator because I was scared, and it shone an expansive spotlight on my car. I accelerated along the straight, doing well in excess of 150 kilometers per hour.
Don't tell the cops.
The next thing I knew, I looked back, and the large object had accelerated away into clouds some distance away over the lake. It wasn't a small acceleration either, it was incredibly fast, faster than any conventional aircraft could ever travel over that distance. As it was speeding away, its 2 lights began pulsating. I decided to report this incident as it felt as if the object specifically targeted me. I am usually a skeptic, but the maneuvers this object made were possible, almost gravity-defying. Papakura comment. This is possibly the first report of a kidney-shaped object in NZ. We have heard from a researcher in California, USA, that there have been sightings of a kidney-shaped object reported there in recent months.
Really?
Sketch provided by colleague Robert Salas, USA, of a kidney-shaped object observed hovering near Ojai, California recently.
Robert Salas, that's that Colonel guy, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, he was the guy at Malmstrom Air Force Base in 1967 when a UFO shut down missiles.
Kidney shape?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's all this stuff inside here, though?
Yeah, was that the lights?
Multicolour lights moving around. To me, that sounds almost like one of these crazy Chinese balloons, right? Where you got the fairy lights on it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been going that quickly if he's correct in his estimation.
Well, I think maybe they're wrong.
Oh yeah, but he's massive. If you know, if he's wrong, he's not just wrong; he's completely messed it up.
Well, it's an eyewitness account. So it's not really.
Yeah.
No video. We can't look at video and sort of estimate the speed
using
the video. But
can't. No.
Kidney shape. Let's just have a look. That one's got me interested. I know it's not meant to be debunking, but let's see if there's any kidney-shaped balloons that even match.
Yeah, but you also have to take into account that double L level.
I'm just wondering if it could be some experimental thing. I know NASA were doing something with some crazy shaped stuff up in the atmosphere. Images. Okay, what do we got here? Kidney shaped stress toy. I don't think that floats. And what the hell's that? Steroid balloon. Looks like medical stuff. And what's that one there? Chinese products. What's it say?
Whatever it is, I don't think that's flying at high speed, do you?
Crazy fun inflatables. What the hell are they for, though?
It's advertising, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see it's the only thing that sort of fits it maybe could be a heart balloon. And they can get quite big. You can get quite big ones.
Yeah, sure, but it's just the speed that puts me off it being any type of balloon.
So if that was deflated at the top here, maybe imploded, or someone strapped a ladder.
When he's saying, yeah, but when he's saying it denied gravity, obviously
well,
it's done
balloons do.
Do what?
Balloons defy gravity too.
Only because they're lighter than air, but sure, man. I mean, I don't know. To look more into the details of the case and what he's actually saying now, rather than go on a wild goose chase looking for anything shaped like a kidney.
Well, look at that thing there. That looks like a kidney
it's a balloon.
shape. Yeah,
it is. It's one of those you've seen earlier.
Yeah, with lights on it. Customized balloons. Skyview advertising. There you go. So if that broke away with lights on it, I think that would explain
it. Honestly, Paul, I think it's more likely to be aliens than a kidney-shaped advertising balloon with lights on it.
I don't know.
I don't know what it was, but I don't think it was that, mate.
Whereabouts is that company? So if they got it in America, they're going to have it all over the world eventually. Looks like they got some videos downloaded on something. I don't know. What's this crazy site? Yep, all over the world. That's what. France, Europe. There's that crazy one. What the hell is it? Yeah, it's definitely kidney shape, isn't it? It's shaped as a kidney. Maybe they're trying to get donations for medical, you see. That broke off and it had like blinking lights, you know, around Christmas time. That could explain it, but anyway. That's why we look up these things. Because, yeah, no one's ever heard of a kidney-shaped UFO. You could say boomerang, if it was boomerang-shaped.
I don't know, let's have a look.
Recently, the object had colored lights moving around either within or underneath it. Date, Friday, July 29th, 2016. Time, around midnight. Location, Sunnysnook Park, North Shore, Auckland, North Island. Features/characteristics, airborne object. Description. Conditions, patchy clouds, moon half visible. Duration of sighting 4 to 7 seconds. The witness and a friend were in Sunnysnook Park when they heard a strange noise, unlike a normal aircraft. They looked up and saw an object with lights on it shoot across the sky. The object then changed direction sharply and shot directly upwards into the sky and disappeared. Date, Wednesday, July 13th, 2016. Time, between 2:40 to 3:20 a.m.
Alright.
Location, Ellesmere,
So maybe I need to get
Christchurch,
outside at
South
3 in the
Island.
morning.
Features / characteristics, circular object with propulsion. Description: clear sky with stars. Duration of sighting 1 minute or so.
I still yet to afford that sky watching camera and just hook it up on the live shows and just have it up there tracking planes and stuff.
Yeah, that's not cheap, is it?
No, but eventually the technology will get better by the time I afford to buy one.
So, witnesses drawing of the object's shape. The witness was outside when he saw a light beyond trees, coming from the direction of Riccarton. He thought it was an aircraft until it flew into clear view, and over his house at a relatively low altitude estimated to be 100 to 200 meters. The object was circular with an extension, which created the rear of the circle. There were 2 or 3 white lights underneath, and a flashing red light near the extension. It was not until the object flew past, and was headed northeast towards Sthn, that the witness noticed the extension, which he described as being like a rocket thruster, making a loud noise. It was lost from view beyond trees. Date: Sunday, July 3, 2016. Time: approximate 8:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. Location: Huntsbury, Christchurch, South Island. Features / characteristics: black triangular object.
Now, I've heard of triangles over Christchurch before, but this is the first time I've seen actually someone submit a report. 2016, I think that's the year that my mate said that his friend saw one just hovering over a country road. That's quite interesting.
Clear, still evening. Duration of sighting 15 to 20 seconds. The witness was outside having a cigarette and watching a moving object among the stars, which she thought might be a satellite. A few minutes later she saw another object appear from nowhere, from the northwest over the Beckenham area, crossing over the Kashmir / West Huntsbury area, and heading towards the Port Hills. Figure 1.
That sounds like in the right area. My mate was talking about people seeing it on the... this sounds like another witness though, to the same event. That's quite interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. And they were watching it over the Port Hills. Yes.
West. Figure 2. Object moving to west of my balcony. Approximate 5 kilometers away. Figure 3. Object moving out of view, heading south to southeast. The object was a dark triangular shape with yellow lights under each of the 3 points, and trailing a short whitish misty glow. It was traveling at a lower altitude than that of the light aircraft the witness is familiar with watching on training circuits from the airport. The witness stated it was moving faster than the usual plane traffic she can see from her house, but noted there was a curious slight wobble to its movement, not flying smoothly. The witness estimated the object was approximately 1 kilometer away, however distance and altitude is difficult to ascertain in the night sky. There was no sound from the object. The witness lost sight of...
So this one's far away sighting, probably off the same object, off the one that was hovering over the road, so maybe... Yeah.
Sight of the object as it...
Of course, they never reported it. Because I think that's what happens a lot of the times. They don't report it, but they tell other friends. And so it ends up being passed around as a story, right?
That's it, but it goes no further.
It disappeared beyond a rise behind her house, heading in the direction of the Port Hills. Date: Sunday, March 6th. Time: approximate 12:30 a.m. Location: the Lakes, Tauranga, North Island. Features / characteristics: bright green-yellow light / shaped object descending. Description: clear weather conditions. Duration of sighting 10 seconds. Witness's illustration. The witness was in an upstairs room when it suddenly became illuminated with a green glow. Looking out the window to the south, she saw a large exceptionally brilliant green-yellow light descending fast and low from a south to north direction and lighting up the sky and surrounding area. As the light descended closer, the witness at first thought it was a large round light, but then saw that it had a distinct shape, flat on the bottom and curved or domed on top. The shape seemed to be lit from within, or glowing. The light descended at speed directly towards the lake's residential area, before suddenly changing direction at speed and descending almost vertically, slight angle, in a peculiar and rapid manner. The witness described how this rapid change of direction occurred in one swift movement, without the light slowing. The witness lost sight of it as it descended below rooftop level, possibly into a restricted access area of rural land beyond the housing area. The next day the witness attempted to find the place the light had descended into, however this area of land is closed off to the public as heavy earthworks are taking place. The area has lakes and valleys. Window from where object was seen, as illustrated above. The witness sat at the window with binoculars for around an hour afterwards, in the hope she might see the object ascend and leave, however she saw nothing further. There was no sonic boom. Date, Sunday, March 6, 2016. Time, 8:12 p.m. Location, North Shore, Auckland, North Island. Features/characteristics, large airborne boomerang-shaped object. Description. Conditions cloudy. Duration of sighting approximately 30 seconds. The witness was driving up Tristram Avenue, on the north shore of Auckland, towards Forest Hill Road when he saw an airborne object which he thought was a bird. However, he then estimated that the object was out over the Hauraki Gulf in the vicinity of Rangitoto Island. The island had cloud around it, and the object came out of the cloud. It was shaped like a large gray boomerang. The witness viewed it while parked at traffic lights. It circled and re-entered the cloud, and he did not see it again. Date, Friday, February 26, 2016. Time, 4:35 a.m. Location, Katikati, BOP, North Island. Features/characteristics, airborne object surrounded by red strobing light. Description. Clear, starry sky with perfect visibility. No cloud or wind. Duration of sighting several seconds.
Damn.
Witnesses drawing.
Not long enough.
The witness was up in the early hours of the morning and felt an urge to go outside the house. Venus was visible and the witness was admiring the bright planet when an airborne object appeared, moving quickly in a straight line from east to west over the Katikati township. At that relatively close distance it seemed to be the size of a helicopter body, but with an extension at the back looking almost like a fiery tail. The whole object was surrounded by a strobing red glow/light, which made it difficult to identify the actual shape.
Does sound like a normal
It passed at
man-made
speed,
plane.
heading towards Tauranga and the Kaimai Range, and was lost from view when obscured by a large oak tree.
Could be a small plane.
The witness stated it was unusual, that she felt an absolute urge to go outside just seconds before the sighting. Date, Sunday, January 18, 2015. Time, approximate 10:45 to 11 o'clock p.m. Location, Longwood Forest, Southland, South Island. Features/characteristics, airborne bright light. Description. Conditions clear sky. Gusty nor'easter. Duration of sighting approximately 2 minutes.
That's a bit.
The witness and a family member were out on an evening hunt, and approximately 10 minutes away from their vehicle. The witness remarked how clear the sky was after some foul weather earlier in the afternoon, when he noticed a bright light moving across the sky which passed at a rapid pace. The flight path was not a perfect arc, but fluctuating. The light suddenly stopped dead, reversed direction, made a sudden, erratic course change to the north, then slowly continued on roughly the same flight path.
Unusual.
At that time, the witness and his family member continued walking along the forestry track, and the light was obscured momentarily by pine trees. Visual contact was lost for no more than 10 to 15 seconds at the most, and when their view was clear again the light had gone. Clear sky was visible in all directions, and it would have been impossible for any standard/known aircraft to perform such acceleration. No sound was noticed and the object was upwind from their location during the sighting. No conventional navigation lights were observed. No lights were in use by the hunters at the time, and their eyes had fully adjusted to the night light conditions.
Sounds like an interesting
Date,
case.
Sunday, January 3rd, 2016. Time, 10 o'clock p.m. Location, Waihi Road, Tauranga, Nth Island. Features/characteristics, black delta-shaped object. Description. Conditions overcast, calm with no wind and patchy cloud. Duration of sighting 5 seconds. The witness was outside talking to a neighbor when he looked up and saw a silhouette emerging from over the roof. The object was black, delta-shaped and very large, traveling from the direction of Tauranga City towards
like
the
the
Kaimai
Phoenix
Range
Lights.
and Tearoha. It was gliding quietly at a height of 500 meters, and as it passed the witness could hear a pulsating noise similar to a spin dryer as the object went into cloud. The noise increased, then went quiet, but before the noise stopped the cloud flashed green. The witness lives on a flight path to Tauranga Airport and checked the flight awareness website, which confirmed there were no planes around Tauranga at that time. Date,
Hey,
Sunday,
someone used the
January
app.
3rd, 2016.
Finally, someone's doing something
Time,
properly.
9:30 p.m. Location, Mokoroa Valley, Waitakere Ranges, North Island. Features/characteristics, delta-shaped object. Description. Overcast sky, no wind. Duration of sighting 2 minutes. The witnesses, both farmers, observed 2 orange lights flying up the Mokoroa Valley over their farm and towards their house. The lights were approximately 200 m apart and initially around 150 to 200 m above ground
These
level.
sound all related, don't
Their
they?
house is nestled under a ridge, and they have a clear view across to the Muriwai Ridge. As the lights approached their house, one of the lights went out and silhouetted against the sky. The witnesses were able to see a delta-shaped object that passed silently over their house at an even speed of approximately 50 kilometers per hour, and on a straight NW to E trajectory. There was no air disturbance or wind force. The witnesses considered this an eerie experience, as New Zealand Air Force aircraft regularly fly over their house heading towards Waihi Air Base, and these aircraft usually make a lot of noise. However, these objects were completely silent. The witnesses did not actually see the second object, only its light. The object was lost from view as it flew over the treetops and ridge behind their house. The witness described it as being like a giant bat. The second light flew the same course, but around 200 m to the south, heading in the same direction, with its orange light still visible. UFOs comment, see similar reports in December on our 2015 sightings page. We are awaiting a sketch of the object
Does seem
from the
like a
witnesses.
wave happening that particular
Note,
period.
the US C-17 Globemaster aircraft involved in military exercises, seen flying around NZ, left our country in November 2015. Date, Friday, January 1st, 2016. Time, 12:10 to 12:15.
Well, if there was exercises happening, just make you wonder if it was some sort of test the Americans were doing with New Zealand, because they do that occasionally, in Australia. They may have been testing out one of their new stealth planes, see how it got detected and stuff. They do use New Zealand a lot for cutting edge technologies. They roll it out in the shops here just to test the market, and then if they see how well it performs and if they get problems, they tend then to mass produce it and sell it to the rest of the world. We've had lots of cutting edge music devices on the market here which never went anywhere. I bought one, a portable DAT player, back in 1998, I think it was, which broke and had no parts for it. Well, the rollers, typical tape, the rollers always wear, rubber. But yeah, these triangle ones, I'm not too sure to call it aliens, but certainly these guys all seem to be having similar reports, eh? So that's a delta shape, but they're saying it's green. So it might even be, just still the black ones sort of glowing green because they've got some green lights on it, who knows. But yeah, this is a whole good collection on triangles.
12:10 to 12:15 a.m. Location, Papakura, Auckland, North Island. Features/characteristics, orange lights. Description. Patches of light cloud, gentle breeze. Duration of sighting approximately 30 seconds. For witnesses were outside celebrating New Year when they saw an intense and usual red light approaching from the east. For lights arranged in a chevron formation flew directly overhead in a westerly direction, traveling at a fast pace without any accompanying noise. The witness described the lights as traveling at incredible speed. The lights then just disappeared from sight. 30 seconds later, another light flew over the observers' heads, traveling faster than the others. A sixth light approached much slower from the same direction, with a smaller red light behind it. The two lights were secured by a tree and did not re-emerge from behind it. The lights did not flicker in any way, traveled on a straight trajectory, and did not deviate in speed or direction. Papakura comment, given that this sighting occurred immediately after New Year, it is logical to suggest these lights were sky lanterns released from a New Year celebration. Having said this though, we have also received sightings of two delta-shaped objects with orange lights underneath that have been seen in various parts of the country, and which make no sound. However, these witnesses did not actually report seeing an object, just lights moving at different speeds on air currents and seeming to disappear. This description is consistent with sky lanterns burning out. We note the witnesses were adamant that they were seeing two craft. They were not able to ascertain altitude or distance at night, without visible reference points. Search.
So the only problem there is they said it was moving with speed, and Chinese lanterns don't move typically that fast. And if they're in a big air current, right, somehow I think that would blow out the candle inside. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah.
There's a fairly big opening, right? Or the whole thing would catch fire as it drips oil, and yeah, I don't think so. When you look at all the reports that were happening in that sequence there, that all sounds like the same object or objects they were seeing with the red light. Yeah, that was a really good page, but I suppose we better not read out the whole site. You got this link in the side. You can go and read out the other ones. I think we got the best of it here, probably. They said there was some in 2015 of more of these delta sightings. Let's have a quick look, though. We should move on to your other topics, shouldn't we? Come up to 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
So what we can do, we can leave the UFO and water cases for tonight, because there's a lot of them. Be good to do them all together, because we won't have time to go through them all now. I don't know.
Yeah, we can change it if you want. You can see this 2015 they got lost blur, but no pictures are going. And that was the triangle sightings mostly, bollocks of it. 2014, just have a quick look. Again, no pictures. So yeah, why didn't people get pictures? As we know, they don't often think about it. Too busy watching it. 2013. Again, some big stuff. So they got a lot more sightings going older. The thing it's getting less and less as you go on, which is kind of strange. 2012. I think I clicked it. Oh, it's getting hot in here. Gonna have to open the door, put the aircon on soon.
Yeah, I just had to leave a dog out now, and he was sick outside. Oh Jesus, man!
Oh
It was
no!
absolutely, yeah, it's all.
I wonder where you got to.
Yeah. It's just as well because he'd have had to have done it inside if I hadn't let him out. But yeah, I just noticed when I went to the back door there with him, it's absolutely freezing. Absolutely, I don't know. The wind must be 50 mile an hour plus. It was predicted. I know that's not like gale. Well, yeah, I suppose it is gale force, isn't it? But it's just so cold.
Yeah, it looks like some more triangle sightings. What's this? What the hell? Close up. Looks like we actually got a real photograph finally. Bay of Islands, 11:20. Witness was Selwyn trip on the Bay Islands while looking towards land. He noticed an orange, too much, roughly spherical object hovering or stationary at an approximate altitude of 30 meters, approximately 800 meters distance. Not having binoculars, he took out a photograph of a decent camera. DSLR camera. Look down the image of the screen.
Daylight.
Looking up again, I see the object. He found it was gone. He did not have time to let other people. But did he take the photograph? Is this a photograph? Orange object visible in the center of the photograph. Here it is, here somewhere. Whoa, okay. I've seen it in a few times. Let's have a quick look. Okay. Looks like a balloon, doesn't it? Looks like 2 little black feet and a head there, actually, doesn't it? And a fat body on it. Character balloon of some kind. And for a DSL camera, it's still out of focus. Obviously, he didn't have telephoto. No, he didn't have telephoto or tripod, did he? But yeah, there's another sighting up here. I noticed, talking about another triangle craft. But we might just look at that one middle of the week again, that list there. I'll just take a copy of that.
Yeah, I really don't know why they're, if those triangles are ours, I really don't know why they're flying them all over the world. Do we want to get noticed to something,
It was military exercises they were saying were happening in that time. It may have been like experiments, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt there's triangular craft. I mean, there's been.
They might have been testing it out with other.
But they've got. I've seen an exhaust plume on them. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing fantastic about
later.
They're just stealth aircraft.
Come on, shut it. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, we can. What's this one popping up here? Something strange happening there. I might just do the kill thing. Almost like a background process. Do with this Twitch for some reason. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, we can carry on with one more thing of yours, I guess, and leave New Zealand behind there for the time being. And there was some interesting stuff there, though. That was well worth finding that site. But why can't we find?
It was a good
shame we can't. Yeah, we can't find anything like that on MUFON when we've looked. It's always been garbage.
Yeah, well, I see you're not actually allowed to view a lot of the cases unless you're a member.
We get to see quite a few, but most of them turn out to be rubbish, you know. Or most of them do anyway. 99%.
Yeah, people say 95. I think it's more like 99 myself. That are credible. Depends on your caliber of witness, of course.
Mm.
You know, if all of the witnesses are military witnesses or trained observers, pilots, say for example, I think then maybe you would get down to more like 90%. But yeah, it's civilians.
Yeah. Yes. I see Area 51's been on. Or Area 52 now, is it? It's posted some stuff in the lobby. Some drawings. Yeah, I'm not too sure what this has got to do with UFOs. Is there any description? No. Are they your drawings, are they? On Discord. Need to draw some aliens. We need someone that's gonna do some artwork for the channel. Can you do a kiwi coming out of flying saucer blowing up some fraud channels? I'll work on it. I will definitely create a new intro and it will be funny. Are you still there, Robert?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah.
Yeah, you posted.
I'm not muted, am I? Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm not muted.
Yeah. You were cutting out a wee bit before though. Once you come back again, so I'm not too sure what's going on there.
Oh, do you want me to refresh the page? I'll do it anyway.
No, it says all right now. Oh well, he's gone. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to reset it anyway. So
yeah, there we go. That normally fixes.
So what's the next case or the last case? So you're going to skip on USOs?
Yeah. Well, this one's actually over water as well. But I want you to have a look at this one because we've got a photograph.
Well, these ones are water cases, I guess, that we've been looking at in New Zealand.
No, I mean with what I had set for tonight.
Yeah.
This is actually, it's in England, East Sussex. It was at the Bexhill. Oh, I'll just leave it there for you to see anyway. Right, okay, copy.
Okay, what's Area 51 saying? Why is it not zooming in the direction? There we go. 52 is his son. So is 53, Area 53, your daughter? What's the wife? Men and woman. I mean, the men in black woman. But already had a Discord. Right. Yep. That's cool. Yes. Yeah, I want to make a new intro with the UFO coming down. Out steps a laser kiwi where it shoots laser beams from the eyes and calls out frauds. And it has little cartoons of Goof on and the other frauds running away and shooting laser beam at them. And yeah, it should be quite funny. I got a few ideas. It will sort of look like them, but people, it won't have their names or anything. One of them will have false teeth popping out, probably. Yes, so what's happening here, Robert?
Okay, I'll just leave the link then. There you go.
Sounds like you need to go sleep. Yes, it's really hot here.
No, I'm okay, you know.
It's probably freezing where you are, and it's really hot where I am.
Oh, yeah.
I think it must be about 28 Celsius here at the moment.
Jeez. Be lucky if it's 8 here. Better be lucky. Oh, jeez.
I might have to throw
Feels
some
like,
shorts on.
-8.
Well, it started out quite cool in the morning, and as the sun's sort of gone around in the afternoon, it's gradually baking the house. So the UK now, just like objects.
Yeah.
Was that the real photograph?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a real photograph, people.
But
there's always a but.
You didn't notice it when he was taking the picture.
Oh no. That would have been perfect if he saw it with his eyes and took a picture.
But he did feel static, like electricity in the air, which is commonplace when these things are about. So, guy seems sincere. But is it something on the windscreen?
Could be a bug. Well, it is a photograph, not a video, so we can't get any clues, right? Well, better read it out and then
Yeah.
sort it out. So even on this video up here, it looks like they got overhead power lamps, right? Looking like flying saucers, right? They're on sort of like strung up on cables there, by the looks of it. So, let's see how it goes.
Disc-like object photographed at Bexhill-on-Sea, East Sussex, UK. Published, 2:22 p.m. August 27, 2013. Location Bexhill-on-Sea, seafront, East Sussex, UK. This photograph was taken on Saturday, August 10, 2013. Time 7:59 p.m. I saw nothing in the sky, neither did my daughter, who I was with when the photo was taken. There was a strange electric/static feeling in the atmosphere. It had been a very hot day with lots of people on the beach. It wasn't until I went back through my phone to delete photos taken to save on the memory that I noticed this object I had caught on photo. I thought at first there might have been a mark on the windscreen, until I remembered my daughter washing the car before we went out for her to practice driving for her upcoming driving test. Also, the windscreen mark is debunked by the slight shadow on the ocean caused by the object. I would be grateful for your input on the attached photo and await your reply. With thanks. Tracy. Camera Nokia, Lumia 620. Click on image for full-size, untouched photo.
Where's this
Permanent
shadow?
link, http.
Actually, they actually got a video, is it? Let's have a look.
No, I don't think it is. No, it's not.
Right, it's a photograph. Talking about it. Oh, at least they're giving some Google Maps here. Let's have a look. Road. Hey, can we see a shadow here? Can't see a shadow. You see the problem here.
You can click on the picture to. Okay, yeah.
Not on the YouTube, no.
No,
but
not on YouTube.
I still think it might have been a bug flying. I can't see no shadow there. But they might zoom in on it, so let's see. I think they might be looking at the edge of a wave down there being a shadow. Kind of looks like a fly. You just can't see the wings. Chunky thing. Oh, right. Was that all of it? That was all of it anyway. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought there was more on the page.
There's a picture there you can click on.
I thought there was a lot more on the page.
No.
Well, I clicked on it. And it's made it smaller. Oh, here we go. Alright, so it kind of looks fuzzy. Doesn't look like a solid craft to me. Shadow. I can see waves that have sort of shadows on them. But I can't see no shadow from this object.
It's relatively calm though, isn't it? I don't know, somebody maybe has analysed the photo a lot closer.
There's no shadow there.
None that I can see anyway.
Looks pretty shallow there. Like you get flounders out there, some like.
Yeah, it's that type of shallow beaches, and you could probably walk out 100 yards or so and still be only up to your waist in. The beaches down Sussex are like that. Is it Sussex or Suffolk?
What's that there? Someone stacked up rocks there or something.
Yeah, it was Sussex. Yeah, very shallow beaches.
Can see a seagull there, a white blob, standing on a post. Looks like an old rock fence or wooden fence of some kind. A few birds here. Can see black specks. Yeah, it's amazing what you can see in a photograph, even if it's out of focus. I don't know. Could be just a bit of bird dropping even, you know. So who knows?
Yeah, that's if he'd seen it, it would have been something else, wouldn't it? The only thing that makes me think is he actually felt that static in the air. I don't know.
Yeah. Where's the cutout thing on this disappeared to? Why can't I see it? That's not it. There's my cutting tool. We could probably run it through some filters that give us a better idea. Oh, doesn't make any sense. I can't see my nimbus. Where's it gone? It's normally here. Oh, here we go. It's got a message, so that's why it's changed the icon. Dirty little runners. There it is. Changed it back to the normal one. They've updated it. Okay. I thought it was there. So yeah. Damn. Let's try and scale it up. Did you have more after this one? Because I was thinking maybe wrap it up now, because it's getting a wee bit hot here for me.
Now I know I'll keep the other cases for next week, you know. My neck is killing me.
Is it? Oh, that's no good reason to give up, man.
Yeah.
We'll run it through some filters here. Sort of thing you need video of though, really. I don't really like photographs. No. Seems to be working alright. Almost need a macro to do this, because you do the same actions over and over again. A flying saucer. brightness. Bit grainy in it, but does it look like it's got defined edges on it?
Difficult to say.
Looks like it's got hairs coming out of it. Could be a seed pod, you know. Anyway, let's try colour swapping. Certainly all the variations given, but yeah, I don't think it's a bug. Yeah, it looks like something that's blown in the wind, like a seed or a leaf. Yeah, the CPU's not cooperating here. Could it be a fairy flying something? A fairy critter? Doesn't kind of look like a UFO though, does it? Does look like something happening here. And you can see there's actually a lot of stuff happening around the outside of it here. What could that be? I don't know. A little seed pod of some kind. See, it doesn't look like a defined flying saucer shape to me. And that looks like it's pretty close, so it shouldn't have atmospherics as far as I would be concerned. There's not a nice solid line like you get with the balloons that we often see. Some sort of plant material, I think. Anyway, probably have to get various seed pods that you have in the area there. In the UK, I don't know. See if any matches. What have we got in the photograph here? Type of trees. See, the thing is that close to the car or far away from the car? Is a bit hard to tell, you see.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, what can happen though is birds can be flying with seeds in their mouth and drop some, and of course that's how they sort of scatter around, because that's what trees do, right? They produce little fruits that they expect birds and animals to cut away, and when they eat them, some of the seeds actually get released through the poo and start growing elsewhere, right? To me, that looks like something that's really small, maybe stuck on the window there for a wee time. They didn't notice it. Some plant matter. That's my guess on it anyway. But yeah, whereabouts was that going? How do we get out of this?
East Sussex.
Bexhill. Bexhill seed pods. Could try that. Seeds, trees. I don't know. What keywords would you use? UK. Seeds of Hope. What's that? Right, here we go. That's what I was thinking of. Something like that there.
Could be, couldn't it? that would be where the edges aren't too defined.
There we go. And we got similar one on birch trees here. That actually looks identical to what we're looking at. It's got the fuzzy edges that we saw.
Yeah, I'm not sure you'd find them anywhere near the coast though, but not impossible.
Yeah, I think birch trees are pretty common. See, these ones are birch trees, aren't they? They're quite longer. A bit of that broke off from a bird's mouth when it's flying around, send it off to its chicks to eat or whatever. That could explain it. Yep, there we go. I think Paul's nailed it again for you. So you always got to think outside the box when you're looking at these things. Don't think of it being alien. It makes it for a good story, but still doesn't prove what we're looking for.
No, the big red flag is that he didn't see it.
Mm.
I mean, you'd think looking at that picture in isolation, the thing was huge. But I'm sure if it was that big, because he actually said there was a ton of people down on the beach and nobody noticed anything, it seems.
Yeah, I think what they're seeing is a shadow is actually the edge of one of these waves. I think that's what they're trying to say here. Probably trying to think one of these ones here, right? Let's have a quick look at that again. Yeah, they're just like edge of waves, or those looks like part of a pier, maybe an old pier. One side of it's out to sea there. Looks like a pier this side, and a pier this side, and it looks like that's where they launch boats down, isn't it? Looks like an old boat ramp there.
It could be what they call a groin, and what it does, it stops all the sand shifting to one part of the beach, you see.
Yeah, it could be a groin, yeah. That makes sense. Yep. Just banged in posts there to stop the sand all being sucked out. Anyway, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed what we've done today. We'll leave it there. I'm surprised I was allowed to debunk that one.
No. I only picked that one for you, Paul.
Yeah, so you can see here it's got this. Now you looked at those seed books; they sort of had little lines of rows of seeds going around in circles. You can clearly see the circle pattern happening here. There's a seed pod there, you know. I've seen something similar where they had an acorn, a small acorn drop from one of these famous UFO researchers, saying that he catches them on his cam, and you know, I've got live on that one too. I can't remember what the guy's name was now, but yeah, it definitely looks like an acorn, a small acorn that dropped off a tree and caught it on his security camera. Anyway, good stuff. I kind of enjoyed that, New Zealand cases for a change, and
yeah,
some with photographs at least.
Well, at least you know now there's a reporting centre there.
Oh, I should have kept that enhancement for fun now, shouldn't I?
It's okay, I've got it.
Maybe I can take it from the video, but yeah, I was meant to make a thumbnail for this episode when I get the chance to download it. But anyway, we'll just wrap up here now. Oh, I forgot to put the thing here too, because we changed it. So it was Bexhill UFO UK. Now, what year was that?
Oh,
do you remember?
Yes, it was 2013.
All right.
10th of August 2013. So that's another thing that could favour the seed pod. It was 10th of August. And I know you actually get a lot of tree pollen around at that time.
Yeah. It'll be a birch tree or similar type of tree that has similar shaped seed pods. But anyway,
yeah,
a bird would have dropped it flying past. I would have said, alright, I should save it that way. So I don't forget. Okay, let's wrap it up here. And open up that door. Oh, it's hot. It's only going to get hotter too. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. A few that had 4 people or 5 people. And there we go. And what was that strange noise?
I didn't hear it.
Now we need to get more people coming across the Twitch, don't we? Thanks for your donations and support, people. CPU's peaking now for some reason.